Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am the AYoN.
And I'm Yin&Jung.
And that's it. It's just us today, because we're the only people brave enough to go deep into Naruto in our friend group. Yeah, we watched it. When did we watch this? This was a while ago that we started this. This was like what, back in would have been February, I think, because they were in the second bracket.
Yeah, we're already into Shippuden.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we watched 13 episodes for the Shonen Showdown way back at the beginning of the year, and I was like, hey, you want to continue this? And you were like, yeah, and we just did that. So, also this week, Magic Record episode 4, yeah, is coming out today as well. So check that out if you haven't already, and watch both of these. Oh, God, how long are we going to be talking about this? This is, okay, to be fair, we're going to only talk about the first series, right? And we're not really going to cover the fillers too much, so, out of, 233 episodes, we're only going to talk about, 135. That's not a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, some of the other show might leak in a bit, because...
I mean, I think it has to a little bit, because,
yeah.
we're watching, almost 200 episodes of that already.
Yeah.
So it's
hard to pretend you don't know what happened.
Yeah, especially because, you knew a little bit about, going in, who was going to live, who was going to die, all that sort of stuff. But, so, I don't know. Well, I don't know that I really, asked you before. How is that? Do you feel like some of the things in the show still hit the same sometimes, even knowing how it's going to resolve itself?
I think it's mostly because I didn't really know how, for instance, somebody died or... whatever occurred. So I think sometimes I still enjoy seeing how it comes about, I suppose, but I'm not really surprised by very much. I mean, there were a few things that I guess I didn't necessarily know about, but most of the big parts I was already aware. Most of the things that would have been a twist for somebody else, I kind of already knew.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. So I guess we can just get into this. We usually start with plot. Do we just I feel like we know what's going on with Zabuza and stuff because of if you watched our tournament thing, then you know what's going on there. But yeah, at that, I guess we could just talk about the tail end of that. Naruto goes into the mirror thing with Sasuke. Sasuke dies, air quotes. Naruto unleashes his fox spirit, kicks Haku's ass, and then Haku takes the lightning blade for Zabuza. And then Zabuza dies. And everybody dies.
Everyone dies.
I don't know. Yeah. Thoughts on that? Because that was I feel like for some people that was a bit of an emotional turning point because that was that was kind of the first death that they kind of had in the show.
I would say overall I liked this arc. I think they made me care about the characters in a short period of time, which was nice. And we also got to see... I don't remember if this was the first time that Naruto went with the fox spirit. Or was this not the first time?
This would have been the first time that he kind of, let it loose.
Okay, then yeah, I think, that was interesting to see. I think we got to see a little bit more of, I guess, his relationship with Sasuke and that they care about each other to some extent.
That one scene where he's just holding him, it's
yeah.
That and the
every
kiss
memory,
thing.
every dying memory he had was of Naruto.
Yeah.
Not his family or anything. I guess maybe it would have been a spoiler.
No, it would have been.
So they didn't want to show the scenes of his family or Itachi.
I mean, at that point, I think at that point we'd only seen Itachi's silhouette and his eye kind of thing. And
I don't even know if we had at that point.
No, we had.
Wasn't that during the Chunin exam?
No, that was early on whenever he's talking about I have to kill a certain someone.
Oh, okay.
And then that's actually where he mentions I have a brother, he killed my family. And I think that's when we see the silhouette and the eye, and that's really all we get. Because I remember the first time I watched this, I saw that silhouette come up, and then turns out Kakashi had a Sharingan. I'm like, oh my god, did Kakashi kill his family? Then I'm like, oh, that's the wrong eye. Because it shows his right eye, not his left.
What if Kakashi killed his family? No.
We want to talk about a plot twist. Hey, let's keep watching Shippuden.
That would be something. But yeah, I mean, I think we could have assumed, because of the fact that he wants to kill the brother, that he had a good relationship with his family. So, I
Yeah.
mean, they could have shown something, and I don't think I would have felt spoiled. But I don't know. It was just kind of funny to me. I don't think it was that deep with the Naruto thing, but
No, yeah.
it was just funny.
Still, one of those memories is always going to be like, that was even in that I forget, was it the second opening of Shippuden?
Something like that.
There was like, it's that like last scene, they're walking towards each other and like flashes of their memories, and it's always the when they made out.
Yeah.
That one time.
It made an impression on them.
Made an impression on the audience,
They
I guarantee you.
can't forget that. But,
yeah. We were, like... I kind of forget, like, what were we saying, like, about Haku? We kind of wish they could have adopted Haku. Like, maybe Zabuza
yeah,
died,
they
but
do the
take-
same thing with another character later.
Yeah,
that
we were
talking
kind
about
of...
doing with Haku.
Yeah, we were, like, going back and forth, kind of like, well, what would that be? Like, oh, he's just gonna... They're gonna try to socialize him. And then, you know... I don't know. Everyone falls in love with him because he's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could have done some interesting stuff with Haku if they had kept him alive. I guess I kind of understand. Maybe they wanted to show more of the tragedy of, like, being a young ninja.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
And that was probably why they wanted to kill him off so quickly. But I think it could have gone either way, and it would have made sense, whether he would have lived or died. I think Zabuza had to die.
Oh,
otherwise,
yeah. Without it. I mean, he
know.
was basically just like a serial killer.
Right. I mean, he clearly had to die, but...
Yeah, he had a moment of redemption after Naruto does his little, like, but he loved you and he, like, lived and died for you.
I'm telling you, Naruto has a superpower.
It is a superpower.
He talks to anybody. Doesn't matter how evil. And we see that even more later on.
We know that he's got, you say he's got 2 moves, which is not
3
entirely
moves.
true. Yeah, like, most people are like, oh, he's going to shadow clone, or he's going to make you his friend, or he's going to Rasengan, or he's going to make you his friend, or whatever other individual power he may have, or it's like, if I can't beat him, they're going to join me.
Basically, that's why he becomes Hokage. I don't think that's a spoiler.
Yeah, no,
Everyone knows
he it's like some sort of hypnosis, I think.
Yeah, he has it in spades, but... So... I don't know. Definitely Haku would have been a good guy. Maybe even Zabuza if he had lived, but I don't know if we could have forgiven him.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Probably not.
I think he's too much.
He was too far gone.
Yeah.
But
Plus
Haku...
he
maybe.
said, like, you can't be around him. He's going to get annoying because he says ninja so weird.
Ninja.
Ninja.
Yeah. I love the way he says ninja. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But, the ending was kind of touching because Zabuza and Haku's relationship, I guess,
Zabuza had a cool,
was...
like, last moment kind of, like, kill the mob boss thing.
Yeah. He kind of redeemed himself a little bit. Their relationship was still fucked up, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
It was kind of touching, I guess, in the end.
Little long, the overall arc. It drags a touch.
What was the reason that Sasuke lived? I don't even remember.
Oh, Haku just didn't go for a vital point. He put him in
did it on
he
purpose.
put him in a
Okay.
state of near. It was a Romeo and Juliet thing.
Yeah.
Like he's only mostly dead.
Okay. That
So,
makes
yeah.
sense then.
I guess. They would be a very, 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 very different series if Haku had just gone for the kill.
It would have been over.
It would have been over. Yeah.
What could have happened at that point?
Nothing.
I think Sasuke is the catalyst for so many storylines.
Oh my god, yes he is.
I just don't know what would have happened.
Yeah. But that's later. We should talk about now. And now it's Chunin exam time.
Right.
I still argue this is one of the best arcs in all of Shonen. Personally.
I think definitely in this show,
It's up there. It's definitely
it's one of the
like
best
this
arcs.
is either the best or the second best arc. I think there's 2
Yeah.
that like stand out the most. This is like this is kind of the big cast thing though. Like we see the entire extended cast.
yeah, all the
point.
people that I thought were just nobodies before. And
Oh no,
I
they got a
was
name.
like, I
That
don't-
means that they're
I don't care.
Yeah, they had like 27 other kids in that class. Yeah, they were pointless, but like the 9 that made it,
Yep.
they got names. You should have known.
I don't know. A lot of them at first just seemed boring or just like they had one shtick and nothing else.
Oh, they do.
But I think
They all like really only have one shtick apiece almost.
But I think they do end up, at least the ones that they give more of a arc to.
Yep.
I think they end up being interesting characters. But some of them still end up with just one shtick.
Yeah, like, because we get to see the other 6 Genin from his group, and we also get to meet Rock Lee's group, and then the Sand Trio, and we also get a villain, which is cool, and some of the other stuff that's going on there, and like his extended cast and stuff like that. There's really only one extended cast that ever sticks around, but fucking Kabuto.
He never dies.
Yeah, I feel like you were asking me.
I thought he was going to die during the Chunin exam.
Yeah, I thought, because you were...
I knew he was evil from the moment he walked in.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone knows
He was so obviously a bad guy.
They don't make bad guy reveals, like...
It was really obvious.
It's a little... Orochimaru is pretty obvious, too. The weird tongue person at, like, the Forest of Death that's, like...
I think I didn't at first know that it was Orochimaru. I knew it was a bad guy.
Yeah, but, like, they can't hide the fact that anyone's a bad guy in the show.
Yeah. Kabuto, I think, was supposed to be a surprise, but he was super obvious.
Yeah. Dude just knows too much and is clearly being too helpful, and he's clearly set up to be the bad guy.
Yeah. I'm surprised anybody trusted him.
He makes it a pretty long while, though, because you, like, every time he showed up, you're like, is he gonna die yet?
I think, like, where we are, he still hasn't
He's
died
still
yet.
alive, yeah.
I swear, he's not gonna die till the very last episode, or he's not gonna die at all. He'll make it to Boruto.
We don't know that much about Boruto, except for, like, broad strokes. He might be alive. He's probably not alive. I don't know.
I have no idea if he is or isn't, he made it way longer than I thought he would.
Last time we saw him, he was doing something really weird that's probably gonna kill him anyway.
Yeah.
So...
But
regardless of that, Chunin exam, Gaara, and them.
Gaara,
that's their introduction. So big character. I mean, I don't know. Do we want to go into the character stuff, or do we want to like just cover like the quick plot things? Because it's like,
I mean, the plot is basically they have a written exam.
Yeah, this is and now that I'm extended my knowledge by like watching more Shonen a little bit further, I'm noticing like a whole like. I need to have a section here. Because envy...
Are you going to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen in comparison?
No and yes. Okay. You remember whenever we covered Jujutsu Kaisen the second time in the tournament, I made 101 comparisons.
Yes.
I think it was only 33 slides. I think I counted it. Of like, what were the comparisons between this and Naruto, and especially Shippuden. And you, the audience, have not heard me talk about that as much. But I have brought it up multiple times to our friends. Yes. And so Envy wants me to make sure to point out Naruto has influences and stuff, because I'm gonna tell you this right now. We're doing Jujutsu Kaisen next week. We're gonna do the second half of the show. I am not gonna be able to contain myself. So
oh my god, I knew it was coming. That's why you want to do Jujutsu Kaisen again.
Also, we're doing these other shows that, like, we didn't have to do My Hero Academia. We did cover it in the tournament, but, like, we might as well.
That's true.
So, I think I'm at least going to try to talk about Hunter x Hunter later as well, because that's one of Gav's,
right.
I think that's his number 1. So, I think the most obvious influence for Naruto, without a doubt, is Dragon Ball Z. Like, especially if you, like, look at the early manga, I feel like the art style is very reminiscent of, like, early Akira Toriyama and his manga from whether you want to take Z or Dragon Ball as well. And, you can make comparisons, like, especially with, like, the character design of our two main leads of Naruto and Sasuke. The happy-go-lucky, spiky-haired protagonist that wears orange and has a vague animal motif versus the constantly angry, spiky-haired... co-protagonist, antagonist kind of deal, wearing Duragonist. I think that was the word I was looking for. Wearing blue. Yeah, I mean they're clearly being set up as a Goku Vegeta kind of deal, like
maybe.
At the offset.
I feel like those are just tropes, though.
I know. It's very much like that hot and cold, like warm color, cold color kind of deal, but. I mean, without a doubt, like, I feel like that was a large portion of it, because Goku somehow also makes friends with everybody, no matter what, especially after fighting them.
But then we have to go back and say, was Dragon Ball the first one
I know.
that?
This is, like, I'm just, like, leading to the point of, like, nothing is original.
Yeah.
So, whenever I'm talking about Jujutsu Kaisen next week, just know I am aware that nothing is original.
All right. So you're not just favoring Naruto.
It's my favorite shonen.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be a little biased.
This was your
This is my number 2.
Your number 2?
This is my number 2. Didn't quite make the 1 spot because I can point out a lot of flaws in this show, which we will get to. And my number 1, I really can't pick out that many flaws.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, like, and the whole like test thing. I mean, you see that in Hunter x Hunter. You see that in a number of different things. I'm pretty sure there was like I don't know, pick a shonen.
I mean, we were just watching My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia as well. I feel like you pick any shonen, and eventually you're gonna have like some sort of trial where you have to work in some sort of forest of death.
Yeah.
And this one just so happens to be called the Forest of Death at some point. Except for the first part was like the written exam.
Right, that was just written, and then they had the forest.
I do like that one, because it's kind of like, you know, on the surface, it's normal, but it's really just about, like, espionage.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I like that. We got to see some people's powers, some not really showcased, but Forest of Death is where we get a lot of
I feel like that was
shit.
one of the places where Ino's powers made the most sense.
The body swap thing.
In the written exam.
Yeah. The only person to actually complete the test without cheating was Sakura. Points to her. She's smart. Shame she never uses it in the series.
I mean, what can you do with book smarts on the field?
I don't know.
Unfortunately, not that much.
And yet Shikamaru is a thing.
Yeah, but I don't think he's book smart.
Okay, you know
I
what?
think
That's
it's
fair.
more
That's
like
fair. He's far more tactically
strategic.
minded.
Yeah, I think that's a different kind of smart.
Yeah.
And he's intuitive, but I feel like she has book smarts. But I mean, she knows all the chakra stuff, so you would think she would have been a little bit. Yeah, so you would think she would have been a little bit more useful sometimes. But it does come up in Shippuden, though. She gets a lot better.
I've said that before. She is way better, like out the gate.
Yeah, I don't even think it makes sense to hate on her at that point.
We can hate on her now. We're just talking about the
first
series. We're allowed to hate Sakura a little bit. Because she's kind of fucking useless.
Yeah.
I mean, she gets a scene in the Forest of Death. She gets that episode to herself a little bit, which is it's okay.
I think the best that she did was during
her fight with Ino.
Yeah, her fight with Ino.
That was probably the biggest.
And a little bit after that.
I really feel like that fight was the biggest thing for both of those characters in this early series. The writer doesn't know how to do
overall
women.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my biggest problems overall, but I guess we could talk about that when we actually are talking about problems.
We'll save a section for the airing of grievances.
Yeah.
Before we get to the forest, like, my favorite part of this was just, like, Rock Lee's intro.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Like, I mean, I've made the Toto comparison, but he's just fun out the gate. Like, what were your initial thoughts on him?
I thought he looked very funny.
Yeah, but...
And he was just really passionate about everything.
He grows on you, though.
I didn't love him or hate him when he was first introduced. He was just kind of like he almost felt like he stepped out of a different show or something.
He sort of did. I don't know.
I don't know. He was the protagonist of some other show.
He could be the protagonist of like some like kickboxing anime or something. I don't know.
That's kind of how I felt about him. He almost felt a little bit out of place to me in the beginning, but then he really grew on me, and I understood why he was included in this show. So.
He gets like the best line in like the whole filler section later. With that, I don't know if anyone remembers the one where Naruto gets like a Sasquatch? Like,
whatever it was.
Whatever that Sasquatch baby was that was like riding on his back.
Hooked onto him.
Yeah, and Rock Lee sees him carrying something on his back, so he just like picks up a whole bunch of bags on his back. He's like, "It will not be outdone."
It was great. I laughed so hard because it was just so unexpected. He just popped out of nowhere.
It's so unexpected and yet so him.
Yeah.
It's kind of perfect.
He's a very funny character, and he really has his moments later on. You were shipping him with Sakura, weren't you? Yes.
At one point.
For a while, I just couldn't understand why she wouldn't go for him. I don't know.
Because like, you see how he looks.
He looks very funny. He looks very funny, but...
We can save this for grievances, but really the only reason anyone's into Sasuke is because he's hot.
That can be saved for grievances.
Seriously, no one knows him.
Right.
Except maybe Naruto.
I think Naruto and Kakashi are the only people I can think of where I feel like they know him on some deeper level.
Yeah. Oh, Sasuke has his Sharingan by now, which is important for... Yeah, he gets it like...
When did he get it?
He got it during the Haku fight, right before he got killed.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's testing it out now, which is important because that's the whole reason Orochimaru is here.
Yeah.
In the Forest of Death, which, by the way, that fight, great.
Yeah, that was the first time the special animation happened.
I said I was gonna like have that guy's name ready.
Yeah, the animation looked great. It's like you can tell the second the episode comes on that the animation is just different. And then you continue watching it, it's so smooth and so, I don't know, like, much higher quality than the rest of the show.
The art style changes a little bit. But...
Yeah, the art style does change during those parts.
God. Oh, damn it. Keep talking. I'm looking for this guy's name. He did some other stuff that I think we watched.
I mean, I know he did those other episodes. But, yeah, I thought the fight was really good. And it really set up, like, an arc that's gonna last pretty much forever with Orochimaru trying to get Sasuke. Basically for the Sharingan, but basically just to, like, take over his body and...
Yeah, because he's got that whole, like,
He switches between bodies.
Yeah. To keep himself alive.
Yeah.
Because he... Like, his whole thing is, like, I want to learn every single jutsu that has ever been or ever will be. So he has to, like, try to live forever.
Right.
God damn it, I am having such a time with this. But, like, I think I had read something, like, that Orochimaru was never supposed to exist. Like, they kind of, like, had to talk the writer into it, because he was like, oh, no, the exam itself should be fine. We don't need, like, an overall arcing villain. We don't need, like... And they were like, no, do something. And he's like, well, I got an idea for a snake guy. And he's just, like, the creepy dude. And, like, he's a fucking monster. His introduction is fantastic for a villain.
So all this stuff with Jiraiya and Orochimaru...
See, I don't know.
That wasn't supposed to happen?
I don't know for sure.
That's so weird.
I mean, like...
Feels planned.
It all feels... Yeah, it feels seamless. How it's all put together.
Good for him if he didn't plan that in the beginning and then made it work.
Is this the guy?
I mean, that's great, but...
I think this is the guy. Hang on. Norio Matsumoto. He is... I guess you could say famous and infamous. There's a thing in Shippuden. He does some episodes in Shippuden, which apparently some people really did not like. We watched those recently. I didn't have a problem with them.
I think there were some weird faces, and there were some, like...
There was one or two, like...
that were too wacky.
They were, like, a little Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
But...
It was usually when something smacked him on the head. But...
yeah, that one shot.
Overall, I thought the animation looked really good in that episode, too.
Yeah.
It was just a few shots that were strange, but usually the animation really ramps up.
I think the big thing is, like, he's the guy where people are like, don't pause Naruto.
Yeah.
Because his in-between animations look weird pause, but when you see them in motion, they're like, they just, like, flow so well. He did this one, he did the Hokage fight, he did the big battle between Naruto and Sasuke.
Part of it.
Yeah.
And only part of the Hokage fight, yeah.
Yeah, like the more actiony.
But it feels like, I think
stuff.
The whole Orochimaru scene was him, I think.
For the fight in the Forest of Death,
Once Naruto got knocked out.
Yeah, because he started using the Fox Chakra. I feel like he was maybe not conscious of it, but he was starting to figure it out a little bit, I think. And then Orochimaru's like, yeah, no. And he just kind of double seals it up.
Can we just say, though, Sasuke and Naruto were doing so much in these scenes, and Sakura was just screaming their names from the sidelines.
That's what she does. That's it. That's all she's got.
It just made me so angry. I don't know. That really sealed it for Sakura. Until later on, she does get better, but for now, that was one of the worst parts, because it just feels like she should be able to do something, and she just didn't. But, you know... She did get Sasuke to safety, I guess, and then she ends up protecting him and Naruto while they're unconscious. But later on, she needs help again when people start to attack.
But to be fair, it's Rock Lee who shows up.
Yeah.
And he's cool. He's always cool. He shows up with a squirrel. And, we get the Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru introduced. But not really, like, we don't really get to know a lot about them other than, like, some of their techniques a little bit.
They were introduced before that.
Well, they were introduced before that, but, like, we heard who they are.
This
and we
was
know
the
that
first
Ino
time we
was
saw
into
them worked as a team.
Yeah. And they're not the most effective because they're very inexperienced, but they held their own long enough to get, like, Orochimaru's Sound Village people away. And then, like, after that, it's working with Kabuto and the Gimp Suit Rain Ninja. Do you remember them?
Yeah, kinda.
Just weird. Weird people. And, yeah, so they just had to beat them up. And then they went to the tower to fight in the tournament, and too many people made it. Apparently Naruto inspired so many people in the first round that the second round there was too many people, and so the third round had too many people, so like, we were supposed to have a normal tournament, but now we're gonna have a preliminary tournament to just whittle you guys down.
It was all Naruto's fault.
Everything is Naruto's fault. And by extension, everything is Sasuke's fault. And by extension of that, everything is Haku's fault because he didn't end this in episode 13. Or maybe like 14 or 15. I forget which one it was. But yeah, this is like actually where we get more the showcase of everybody a little bit. Not only because like we get some character stuff for everybody, we get some power stuff for everybody. And some fights are short, some fights are long, some are clearly better than others.
I feel like each one got at least an episode.
They did.
Even if it wasn't the best fight.
Yeah.
And I remember we kind of talked about this in terms of My Hero Academia's fight.
Yeah, a little bit. I think the thing is though, like I feel like every one of these fights, and I think I mentioned this before, you're right, they did get their own episode. You get to see the full range of it. It wasn't over in like 10 seconds. Most of them, I think. Some people just fought other people who were just fodder. Like, I know you're not a fan of Kankuro and the puppet guy.
Oh yeah, him.
His fight was over in 10 seconds because he tricked him out the gate. He switched places with his puppet, and this puppet, like, mashed the guy.
Wait, who's Kankuro?
Oh my god. I have to explain this every time you bring him up. He's
Gaara's
Gaara's brother, yeah. He's the dude with the dog hat looking thing and the puppets.
I sometimes confuse him with Kiba.
He's the only dude in this series who uses puppets. I feel like that's the easy way to remember. And Kiba has a dog.
Yeah, but he has the ears. I remember him.
Kiba doesn't have ears.
Yes,
he wears a hood.
He should. He's the one who should have ears because he's the dog guy. But then the puppet guy has ears and it doesn't make sense. Right?
I don't know. You're not a fan of Kankuro. We get it. Doesn't matter.
I mean, it's not that I don't like Kankuro. It's just that he's a non-character a little bit. Like,
I mean, he hasn't shown up since the first arc of Shippuden, so...
Yeah, I mean, he's
really
there
important.
only when he has ties to Gaara.
Gaara had a kick-ass fight.
Yeah, Gaara was pretty mysterious up until now. We saw him do some stuff with his sand.
We saw him murder some people.
He seems pretty evil.
He's a psycho a little bit right now.
At first, I couldn't even picture the three of them as siblings, and I kept forgetting they were siblings at all. He felt so far removed.
I don't think Temari looks a whole lot like him, but when Kankuro kind of like takes off the makeup and the hat, you can kind of see it.
Yeah, but it just seemed like they are obviously like scared of this guy.
Oh, who wouldn't be?
And they didn't seem to have any kind of bond, but I think later on you see a little bit more that they do.
Yeah, once he, calms the fuck down.
He seems very insane in this one. Like
he's literally never slept before.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd be a little crazy too.
Yeah. He's pretty crazy.
But the fight with Rock Lee.
Yeah, I mean, that
wonderful.
was probably the best one
without
in
a doubt.
This section.
Everyone has some good stuff. I know Naruto had some good stuff against Kiba. You got some decent character stuff going on.
I actually felt like Naruto's and Kiba's was one of the weakest.
I thought it was a fun show for Kiba because he will never get anything else. And I thought it was good for Naruto to like kind of... I feel like this is the first time Naruto's had a fight on his own.
Yeah.
He's always been on a team, but like this is a good point, not only for himself, but to prove to everybody else, yeah, I have a reason to be here. Just because you haven't seen me succeed doesn't mean I can't succeed.
I felt like Ino and Sakura's was the most interesting outside
Yeah, I was going to
of
mention
Gaara
that. Like,
and
I would also throw in, I know you're not a fan of Hinata, but I think Hinata and Neji's fight was
I think
decent,
their fight
too.
was pretty significant.
Especially from a character standpoint for them.
I think that was the thing. I think for them it was the character stuff, and for Ino and Sakura it was also the character stuff. So I think those two fights, they weren't as awesome as Gaara and Rock Lee's, but I think they
Gaara
had
and Rock
some
Lee, like,
deep stuff.
I think those are the best. That's the best one because not only is it stunning, but you also get like you get character shit from that.
So I think that one had the best of both worlds, but the
yeah.
other two, even if they weren't as awesome looking, they still had the character stuff, which made them stand out.
But that moment, he just drops the weights.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, there were a lot
Even
of
Gaara
cool
was going, what the fuck is going on? How is he this vast?
The fact that Gaara still won in the end.
He won on it. Well,
I was so pissed.
Okay. He technically won because Lee was disqualified.
Yeah.
But had he not been, Gaara would have straight up murdered him.
Yeah.
And they didn't say that death was off the table.
He would have, absolutely. But Rock Lee deserved it, goddammit. This was definitely the arc. I was starting to like Rock Lee during the other parts of the Chunin exam, the Forest of Death. And I was starting to like him because I could see, a lot of willpower. But I think this is when they showed his backstory, right? Or was it before this?
I don't think it couldn't have been before. This is probably where we
feel
got
like
like
it
a
was
glimpse
this
of it.
part.
We get a little bit more later though, after we see him in the hospital. I
mean,
think. But yeah, I think most of it.
We see quite a bit of it here, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think did they split this over 2 episodes or was it 1?
I think it was 2.
Okay.
I think this one got a little bit more for a good reason.
Oh yeah, it was, yeah.
But I mean, he's kind of like Izuku. Or he was kind of quirkless, quote unquote, for this world, where he can't really use, what is it?
Ninjutsu. Or genjutsu.
Or genjutsu, or really any
He has chakra. He can walk up walls and stuff, so he has some level of chakra control, and like the 8 gates is a chakra thing, so...
Right, he has some sense of it, but he can't
anything with hand signs.
Right, he can't do the stuff most people can do.
Honestly, he is like, kind of a lot like...
He's a lot like Izuku.
Yeah, he's like, green... The hair, like, not necessarily the hair, but his hair is not always great.
Not really the character design, but I would say
okay, they do both wear, like, a lot of green.
All right, they have the green and red going on.
And, like, they're, like, just that, I will push myself harder and harder and harder. And, like, they have the mentor. They were
inspired by a mentor that they kind of copy a little bit.
Straight up just...
There's some similarities, but I think it's the fact that those characters are very inspiring because they're very much the underdog.
Oh, yeah.
And there's somebody who just pushes themselves past their limit, and you really feel for them. And I think definitely. I really felt for Rock Lee.
I think it's the Rudy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to root for them.
I know you're not super into sport movies.
I don't think I have.
Okay.
But I see what you're saying. It's that kind of character that I think it's hard not to like them.
Yeah.
They just try so hard.
What was the reason you wanted to ship him with Sakura? You're just
he
like,
just
give
deserves
him he just deserves something nice.
He needs something nice. I mean, give him a win.
I'm sorry, I can't agree with it because at this point in the series, Sakura is the thing that's nice?
That's what he wants, so he can have it. That's my feelings. He wants it, give it to him. He deserves the good things in life.
He deserves better. Sakura.
Well, that's what he likes, apparently. Either way, his backstory was really good, and his relationship with Guy
Sensei.
Mike
Sensei. Guy.
It's really good as well. It's a lot like, once again, All Might in Izuku,
we didn't
which I
mention
like.
Mike Guy. He's fun.
Yeah, he is fun. He's a fun character.
What's going on, everybody? How's a chicken?
Yeah. I don't know how... I sometimes wonder how he is in the Japanese dub.
He's got like a deep voice kind of thing. I think
is he still that
he's still
like
got that high
crazy?
energy thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
cool.
you see how he's animated, and you see like his personality. Like you know what kind of guy he's
still
gonna be
that.
Like.
Okay.
I kind of like that. Like that. It's always fun. I think that's like kind of a. I mean, we don't see it a ton here, but I love the Kakashi Guy dynamic.
Yeah, that's pretty fun as well. He's always like, "You're my rival."
Huh? Did you say something?
Gosh, she just...
Why are you always so cool?
That's great.
But yeah, I was actually thinking, like, it's sometimes in My Hero Academia, I feel like we need more of that every now and then with, like, upbeat All Might and just downbeat Eraserhead.
I feel like they just don't have that kind of relationship.
They don't. I kind of wish they did a little bit.
Sometimes I see it a little bit with Present Mike and Eraserhead.
Yeah, but is Present Mike cool?
He's a little lame.
Yeah, he's a little lame.
And definitely Might Guy and All Might are a little bit more similar in terms of personalities.
Yeah, they're like at 11.
And then Kakashi is really similar to Eraserhead.
I think the only difference is Might Guy never comes down from 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if All Might wasn't sick.
Oh, I guarantee you, if he was like,
he would just be like that all the time.
In his prime, yeah, I'd watch that. That'd be great. But yeah, so we had this tournament thing. We didn't really mention the curse mark and that whole deal of like Orochimaru cursing Sasuke and giving him powers and stuff like that, and super ragey bloodlust. The Kakashi's on that. He's sealing that, and telling Orochimaru, go fuck off. You're not allowed around here. And so they're gonna set up for the rest of the tournament. They'll get like a month or so.
Who did Shikamaru fight, by the way?
Oh, one of the sound ninja. She used like a bell to use a genjutsu to like make multiple versions of herself, and she started throwing needles at him.
Okay.
And then he caught her with the shadow and like made her like duck backwards.
Yeah, he had some good stuff. Yeah. I feel like this was around the time I started to like Shikamaru a lot.
It was not.
Really? I still don't like him?
It was not. We'll get there.
Was it the Tamari fight?
It was definitely the Tamari fight.
All right. I didn't like him yet then.
No, I remember the whole thing.
You remember my initial hatred of Shikamaru?
Oh, yeah. I remember. We'll get there. But we got to talk about Jiraiya first, because that's what's next.
But I just want to say, in terms of the Gaara and Rock Lee fight again, I think one of the most interesting things about it was that it was, I don't know, somebody who was kind of blessed with a lot of power.
Didn't respect it?
And then somebody who had to work really, really hard to get to that point. And I think that's one of the deeper things that made it such an interesting fight.
It's a little bit of that Bakugo Deku fight kind of thing.
A little bit.
Right down to the murderous psychopath.
Not too, But it's just it's always interesting to see that contrast.
Yeah.
I agree. So I liked that about it as well.
So yeah, they get a month off after that. Train up. And Naruto wants to train with Kakashi, but Kakashi's off training Sasuke. And
what was that for?
I mean, I think at this point, Naruto is very annoyed with the fact that Sasuke is always the favorite.
When he comes back with his new outfit.
We will get there. We will get there, because we need to talk about Jiraiya.
All right, Jiraiya.
Pervy Sage.
I love Jiraiya. He's one of my favorite characters.
He's fantastic.
He's great.
Again, the similarities with like some other. I know there's been other pervy senseis, but like I feel like this and Master Roshi are like
they're similar. Yeah.
They're the ones that everyone goes to for like, the pervy old dude who's going to teach you how to do stuff. I feel like there's probably like a line of influence there. But yeah. Should we also point out Ebisu, Crispin Freeman's character?
Damn, I always forget him.
Yeah, I know. You forget some people.
He was originally supposed to train Naruto, but Naruto couldn't be trained by a perv, but then he ends up trained by a perv anyway.
I mean, it was more of a thing of he just didn't like the dude.
Didn't he not like him because he found him pervy? Or was there another reason?
I mean, he also finds Jiraiya pervy.
Yeah, but he stuck with Jiraiya. Was it just because he was more powerful, maybe?
I think it was a result of, like, in episode 2, he beats him with the sexy jutsu. He beats him with harem jutsu, and he's like, you suck. Why would I learn from you? And
but then he uses it on Jiraiya all the time.
Okay, but Jiraiya can come back from it.
He
can still kick your ass afterwards.
The other guy, there's no coming back from it.
Like Crispin Freeman gets like two main characters, mainish characters in this, and one they're like exact opposites.
Yeah, they are not the same. I didn't even realize until recently that they were the same
I had to point that out to you.
But it's mostly because I forget about this dude.
It's not like Steve Blum where he's every villain.
Yeah.
And actually a couple background characters too. Like, yeah, I feel like if you get Steve Blum, you've covered like at least a third of your cast.
He's not Pain, right?
No, he's not Pain.
There you go.
No, but yeah, so we meet Pervy Sage, and he's teaching Naruto how to control his chakra. He undoes Orochimaru's seal on him, and he's like kind of like he teaches him how to summon toads.
Yep.
But he's also like, you know, you got to figure
cool.
out how to get your red chakra going. And like I don't know that he's like fully told him yet like, that's the demon inside of you. But yeah, he's trying to get him on that. Which is not a bad overall training arc. He has a lot of those with him. But
yeah, after a while they get a little bit tiresome, but I remember being pretty invested in this one, and I think part of it was because they were also looking for... Were they not looking for Tsunade yet? Was
no,
that
that's
a
the
different
next
training?
one. That's
oh
the
my
next
god,
one.
I got these two training
You
arcs
didn't like
mixed
that
up.
one. I remember that.
Yeah, I liked the Tsunade stuff, but I didn't really like the training stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the
this
first
was mostly
one.
the Toad thing,
Right.
the demon energy thing. We had some stuff with like Sakura and Ino going to see Rock Lee. We had some like flashback material with Gaara.
And yeah, we didn't really talk about Sakura and Ino, but that was something that I kind of wanted to talk about overall.
You might as well talk about it here because I got nothing.
Yeah, I know you weren't as invested in their fight as me, but I was looking for reasons to maybe like Sakura throughout the whole thing. Because I was like, she can't be that bad, like that people hate on her so much. It has to be exaggerated to some extent.
It's one of those things where like you hear about it in the fandom or whatever, and let's be real here, not to spoil anything for Shippuden. We will talk about that eventually in another episode, but you were wondering about Karen. And why does everybody hate Karen? And then you saw her for 2 minutes, and you're like, I get it. Sakura,
yes.
Go get your man.
Yeah, those are my exact words, honestly.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that before.
I wasn't crazy about Sakura throughout the whole thing, but then Kareen or whatever.
Her name is Karen.
I'm
not going to call her whatever her actual name is.
I don't know that she has any fans, and I understand why.
Yeah.
She was so irritating.
I mean, we've made
there are no redeeming qualities to her.
We've put out the thought there once or twice that maybe she was made just so people would like Sakura better.
It did make me... I already liked Sakura better in Shippuden.
Oh, she's much better.
But it made me want her to be with Sasuke, which I had not before. I did not ship them until the moment I met Kareen. So, yeah. There was that. But even in this arc... And I think in the Forest of Death part, I did start to see some of her relationship with Sasuke as well, just because I think she got him down a little bit when the curse mark first was taking over him for that one scene where he saved everyone.
My question though, because I hear what you're saying, I do remember that. If Naruto had hugged him, I think it would have done the exact same thing.
It might have. I don't know. That or he would have been like, "Get off me, loser."
I'm just gonna. Well, hey, that'll still get you out of your funk.
Yeah,
sometime.
He would have been off.
I'm just saying, Sakura was not flashing before his eyes at all when he was dying in front of Haku.
Fair.
But you know who was? Fucking Naruto.
All right, but I could see a bit them foreshadowing them getting together later, or him falling in love.
I get
with her
that
as well.
Yeah.
With that scene, but. Either way, I think the stuff she had with Ino made me understand a little bit better, and I could understand where the arc for her was meant to go, which to me, it seems like the ideal arc for her was that, she was bullied as a kid, and then she met this girl who's everything she wanted to be, and then she kind of takes up some shallow qualities, kind of mimicking Ino, which to me, it's like, okay, she wants to be pretty, she wants her hair to be nice, she wants to be with the cutest guy in class, which is Sasuke. So it's like, I think she adopts all these things, and I think the best arc for her is kind of her moving on from that and being her own person. And I see it happen to some extent. I think one of the things I was missing was she still ends up with Sasuke, and it doesn't feel like she ever really grasps who he is beyond he's a skilled, good-looking guy, unfortunately. But I feel like if they had done something... that's part of the reason why I wanted her with Rock Lee, because I felt like it would have moved her beyond being, a shallow person, And
Probably.
seeing somebody's heart and who they are, and, that this person's good to her, and that's what matters,
I feel like... I agree with what you're saying. I feel like, though, as far as, removing yourself from, that sort of, vain, you're all about looks sort of thing, I feel like that was kind of encapsulated in she cuts her hair off.
I think that
but that's
was part of it.
It's 30 episodes into this 100-some episode thing. I mean, your arc's already done. What else was left for her afterwards?
In a sense, yeah. I don't know. I just felt like there was maybe some more actual personality stuff that she could have still worked on. And I feel like she did a little bit later, but
A little bit.
I don't know. Either way,
She was at least nice to Rock Lee afterwards.
yeah, and I
like,
thought that
got him
was
some
good.
flowers
And I saw her growing a little bit, which I liked after this fight. And even her relationship with Ino cooled off a little, and they kind of became friends again in a way.
Yeah.
So I really liked that stuff for Sakura. So I just wanted to say that.
No, yeah, I get that. But yeah, so while that's all happening, and I gotta say, like, the stuff, especially like whenever we're like seeing Rock Lee, that was probably the point like where you're really rooting for him is when he's in the hospital, and like he's trying to do push-ups with broken arm. I think is the arm and the leg that he got wrecked. Yeah, really makes you feel for the guy.
Yeah.
But Naruto figured out how to summon a giant toad after getting thrown down a giant ravine by Jiraiya, which is very much that teaching method of like, oh, you want to learn how to swim? Here's the deep end.
Basically.
But yeah, he summons the boss toad, and they have a whole episode about how he's not willing to acknowledge him, and he has to ride the toad, which I am so surprised. They're in the village. They're in one of the remoter parts of the village, but like they're in the village. How did no one notice this giant, like, mountain-sized toad jumping around the whole time?
Yeah.
No one came to investigate. Okay. But yeah, so they do that, and then it's like right before the day of the tournament. Him and Shikamaru have an interaction with Gaara, who's trying to kill Rock Lee in the hospital. And then it's tournament time. There's a weird filler episode with Konohamaru and a bull, and we're like, why is this happening? But Naruto makes it. It's the last 8 people, and it's fight time. It's Naruto versus Neji, which was like a 3 or 4 episode fight, I think. And I like it a lot.
Yeah, I thought this fight was really interesting. It kind of comes on the tail of like the Neji Hinata fight. And
Without
this,
a doubt,
I think really made Naruto feel more like he wants to fight Neji and
true. And like it's a character
him.
fight, but it's also kind of a philosophy fight a little bit, even more so than the Hinata Neji one. Because Neji's very much in like that mindset of like, you know, everyone is how they're gonna be forever. No one changes. You're either a winner, a loser, you're either skilled or unskilled, you know, you're either natural at something or you suck. And Naruto's whole philosophy is like, no, you can change, you can make yourself better, you can work, you don't have a destiny, you get to choose your own thing. And so it's cool to see those clash. And Neji just has a cool fighting style. And especially when you have Naruto like spamming shadow clones and all that sort of stuff, and he's like Matrix kung fuing everybody. It's a solid fight.
Yeah, and I think Neji was kind of the person everybody was rooting for because everybody knows how skilled he is.
Yeah, he was definitely the favorite. Naruto was like probably because like the Chunin exam is a huge betting opportunity for a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's like the Olympics or the Super Bowl or what have you. And without a doubt, Neji and Sasuke were the clear favorites.
Right.
Because they had name recognition, they were clearly skilled, and Naruto was like coming on bottom of his class. How did he get through these exams? Everyone's like, don't put any money on him. But he wins. He just wins. Mm-hmm. Like everyone was probably kicking themselves like, why didn't I put like $5 on Naruto in that Neji fight just to hedge the bet? I probably could have made like $500 out of it.
But it's like, I understand most people would have betted on Neji.
I probably would have if I didn't like know that this was part of the series.
If you didn't know this was called Naruto.
If I was in the show and didn't realize the show was Naruto, I absolutely would have bet on Neji.
Bet on Neji. And I think this was the part where
I would have put $5 on him just to be like,
sure. But I think, like...
It's a long shot. If you like got like 5,000 to 1 odds, might as well put $1 on you.
Yeah, I think more than the Kiba Naruto fight. I think this fight was really what made Naruto stand out as a fighter.
Yeah. You know, when you think about it, the Kiba fight also had a little bit of that, like, you're a loser, I'm not, and, you know your place kind of thing. But this one really drove it home a little bit more. Because Kiba wasn't as much of a dick as Neji was about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Naruto wins by digging a hole and punching. I think that's the only shot he landed was that final punch. And granted, Neji had used a lot of chakra at that point just to defend and, like, attack and all that sort of stuff. But I really gotta say, Neji takes one punch and he's done. He got a bit of a glass jaw. Like, I think that's why his whole strategy was, like, don't get hit. Because I can't take a hit.
Perhaps at least worn out because he used chakra?
It was without a doubt part of it. I guarantee you. But, like, he didn't take any physical damage throughout the whole fight. And I'm just kind of like, you can't take a hit. But you know what? It works for him because it was like his whole style, which is, I think it's based on Chinese kung fu. I think it's Bagua, which is like the same style that airbending is based off of. It's very like circular. It's very move and like use your opponent's energy against them kind of thing. And it's basically like, don't get hit. Like Aang's whole thing in Avatar is like, I'm not gonna get hit. You see him dancing around. Neji's kind of the same way. But yeah. No, cool fight. And then, God, I think it was supposed to be Gaara Sasuke, but he was late, and they're like, we'll delay it. And then Kankuro forfeits his fight with Shino because, like, they're planning an invasion. We forgot to mention they're planning an invasion.
That's right.
Yeah, because of economic,
really about the exam.
Political reason. Honestly, I get why the Sand Shinobi were like going after them a little bit. They kind of got the raw deal of things, and they were like trying to redo it. I mean, they were obviously manipulated by Orochimaru because he's the big bad, but still, you get kind of where they were coming from a little bit. Anyway, he forfeits that fight. He's saving his energy for later. And then it's Shikamaru's turn, and he's fighting Temari. And
this fight, it changed things for me.
He was so ready to just quit before it started, and Naruto just pushes him onto the field.
He was daydreaming about the clouds.
God, I wish I was a cloud. You hated him. I feel like the beginning of this episode, you start hearing how lazy this guy is and how he just doesn't want to be here. I think as soon as he
why
said,
is he a ninja?
Yeah,
I just couldn't get it.
Because the money's good. That's it. He said, "I wish I was a clown." And you're like, "Fuck this guy."
I was ready to give up on him. Like he needs his ass just beaten.
Yeah, and then throughout a single episode, completely turned you around.
I did a 360 on Shikamaru.
Shikamaru was fucking great.
He's probably my favorite character now.
I
went from him being towards the bottom to him being towards the top.
Yep.
Probably only Jirai and Itachi come at the same level for me.
I feel like I told you you're gonna like Itachi.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about him in the beginning, but I liked him, but then I loved him towards the end. But I feel like Shikamaru, I didn't like at all. I actively complained about Shikamaru.
You were like, fuck this guy.
I couldn't understand why they let him in. And then I saw his fucking strategies.
He's a fucking genius.
And I was like, this man, you know what? He could maybe beat Naruto. At least at this level, I think he could.
He light Yagami Temari hard.
Yeah, I mean, he got everything at like the right angles.
He's
to
like,
just capture her each time.
He was like, I'm gonna do my little hand thing.
Just watch the sun.
He took in all the information. There's a shadow here. Here's how much chakra I got. Here's where the sun is. Here's where it's gonna be. Where's where she is. That's the hole where Naruto popped out. Mm-hmm. All right, 10 seconds later, I have my plan. You're done.
It was just so wild. It's
anytime you see, I think like. I really wish I feel like they don't show that enough. Like, he's got like 2 or 3 times where he does that hand thing, and you're like, oh, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I wish there was more. Because it's always good. It's always good no matter what he does, whether he does that.
Yeah, I mean, Shikamaru to me is just one of those characters where he just gets better every time. And, like, it'll come up in the later retrieval arc.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
every time he's a major part of the arc, I feel like the character gets better. And it's the same with Shippuden, too, when he has his big arc.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have nothing but praise for him now, but...
Yep.
In the beginning...
And then he forfeits.
Yeah, that was a little frustrating.
The one guy in the crowd.
What? That's how I felt. I was that man.
That was great, though. That was a good episode. I really enjoyed that one.
It was definitely one of the fights that stuck out to me.
Oh, yeah. Then it's Sasuke's turn, and he shows up late with Kakashi and Gaara and
his new outfit.
Talk about it.
What was that?
It was a
leotard.
It was a leotard. It was a black leotard.
What was the reason?
He's wearing a onesie, and I get the concept they were going for, like all black, kind of like, and like simple, not like a complicated outfit other than like maybe your arm guard things or whatever. I get what they were going for, and conceptually it makes sense, but when you put it down on paper, it doesn't look good.
It looks pretty goofy.
And like, what did we call this? This was the goth fight.
Yeah,
it was like the scene kid versus the mall goth.
Very much so. They both have that look about them.
Yeah. It's Linkin Park versus My Chemical Romance. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like their fight didn't even last that long.
It didn't because like
he went into his little like ball pretty quickly.
They started like, because here's the thing, I think half the fight was just the Rock Lee fight, because that's exactly what Sasuke did. He used the Sharingan to copy Rock Lee's technique. And because he was like, oh, this is effective against Gaara, apparently. So he's doing that, and then Gaara's like, okay, well, I'm not dealing with that. He makes a super defense ball to hide in. It's got spikes that shoot out. And then Sasuke's like, well, I only got one way of penetrating that. And he pulls out the Chidori, the lightning blade. Well, he calls it Chidori. I'm not sure. I think it's only lightning blade when Kakashi uses it, I guess. I'm not sure. But uses the Chidori, hits Gaara, goes through the defenses, gets him, and it's the first time Gaara's bled in a very long time, and he freaks out.
Yeah. And
then the invasion's on. So that's a whole arc.
Yeah. Their fight ended there.
Yeah.
But it was, I think the Chunin exams pretty much ends there, but it was a good arc overall.
It's interesting. I know some people who kind of sometimes say the Chunin exam extends into the invasion of Konoha.
I find them different.
They're different, but they do they're so interconnected.
They go right into each other, and I think that's really good because it keeps up the momentum.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, there was no stopping it, which I think was really good, but I do consider them distinct arcs because the exam's over, essentially.
I mean, yeah.
They're just trying to survive now.
When a foreign nation crashes your party and
right.
Blows up half your town, I think, the SATs are done.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a distinct arc, but which is also an interesting arc in its own right as well.
Oh yeah, we get a it just kind of builds on all the character stuff that happened in the tuning exams and pushes it further and brings, not that there weren't stakes in the tuning exams, but now you're in a real war. You're in a real battle. And a big one at that. Stakes are never higher. And Orochimaru's there. He's there to kill the Hokage. And he's reviving zombie Hokages. Shit's going down.
This was the part that has that other really cool fight. But then it goes on and on.
We'll get there.
But the initial fight is really awesome.
Yeah.
You also see his wood jutsu or whatever.
The first Hokage's wood style.
That was really cool as well because we never really seen that in action because nobody else uses it essentially.
No, it's his thing. No one else could figure out how to do it. And you got the second Hokage, which I don't know they give him a whole lot to do here other than the water and the mud wall stuff. No, third Hokage did the mud wall thing. Orochimaru's got some stuff. This is where we find out about the whole body exchange thing and how at this point Orochimaru is technically a woman. And that kind of stuff. He's just creepy. He every appearance he makes, he gets creepier. He's ripping his own face off and stuff. He's puking up swords and snakes and all sorts of things. I think they were like, okay, what's the creepiest way we can make this villain? Let's just make him the worst person.
Yeah.
And also let's make him have an obsession with a 12-year-old boy.
A little bit.
So many jokes have been made about that.
Yeah, I understand why.
Yeah, and he also, he's got like that pale face that's like a little Michael Jackson-y. It is what it is. I don't know. I feel like he gets a lot more like Voldemort comparisons because of the whole pale snake kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, great fight, great animation. Really showcasing the Hokage, because you kind of like...
This is the first time we've seen him fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're the leader of the village, it's a lot more paperwork and a lot less go out into the field kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, you kind of... I don't know, you kind of sometimes wonder, early on in the series, like, he's the leader. Clearly he's good, but what can he really do? And it's nice to actually see it happen a little bit. He's got, like, that monkey-style thing going on. Mm-hmm. He summons the Monkey King, which is cool. He's got that. And then, a lot of stuff is going on while this is happening. And then he's like, I'm going to use the fourth Hokage's thing that he used to seal the Nine-Tailed Fox in a Naruto, but I'm going to seal Orochimaru's soul into me and kill us both. And that lasts for like 10 episodes. It's literally just him pulling the dude's soul out, and he's like, give me back my soul! No, I'm taking your soul! Give me back my soul! And he stabs him with his sword. He's like, give me my soul!
Yeah, it goes on for a while.
It really could have gone...
It could have been 5 minutes.
It could have been an episode.
Right, the fight was really cool, and then they're just kind of like holding on to each other forever.
Yeah. Like, I could see it lasting an episode just for that, because... The third Hokage is also having flashbacks to when Orochimaru was a kid. He's having character stuff. He's doing things, but don't draw it out that long. He's like, I feel like they sometimes for 6 episodes.
Yeah, they flash over to what Naruto's doing, what these other people are doing, and then they flash back and they're still there.
Good. Like, I almost wonder if maybe the Hokage fight should have been like pushed a little bit. Like maybe. I don't know how you would have done this, because of course Orochimaru's immediately going to try to kill him. So of course it's going to happen at the beginning of the invasion. But I got no other way for it to last so long that we can just get this soul pull thing over within an episode. It's so difficult. That or we just never cut to it. And then you cut back 10 episodes later. Oh my god, they're still doing this.
I don't know what better way. I think maybe they could have just, like, left it off somewhere else in the fight and not at that exact moment.
Yeah, if they had bigger pauses, maybe.
And then come back. Yeah, maybe bigger pauses would have helped. I think there was just a way to maybe not drag it out for so long. But I think overall the fight was really cool, but I think they just...
It took too long to end.
I think it was almost just like, okay, just kill him now. Which I should not have felt like that, because he's the good guy.
Well, he even said, I know I'm dying here, but I'm taking you with me.
Yeah, so like
We know he's going down.
Right, and I just felt like then it was just, like, I know he's going down, but he's going down for like 5 episodes.
Oof.
That was the problem. So by the end of it, I didn't care. And I find that sometimes, unfortunately, happens with these battles in Naruto, where it's like, it's really awesome. And then they drag it out so long that by the end of it, it's just like, okay, just die.
You sometimes see that in some other shonen, though.
Yeah.
Not so much nowadays. I think plot tends to move a lot faster, but there's like plenty of times in older shonen, like, I think especially people say Dragon Ball Z, where you have 19 episodes of a single fight. And it's like, it's a good fight.
Yeah.
This could have been done in 5 or 6. When you really think about it. Yeah. Namek takes so long to blow up. It's going to take 5 minutes to destroy this planet. 8 episodes later, it's still there.
I mean, it definitely, I've heard about, like, Dragon Ball Z or whatever.
Specifically the Frieza fight. That's a 19-episode fight.
And it's like, I don't know if people like that, but...
It's very popular. It's a very
there
popular
you go.
fight.
So maybe sometimes people like really drawn-out fights, and I can respect that, I guess. But I prefer the momentum to remain.
Well, I will say this for the Frieza fight, at least. There was... It never got to, like, a point where they were just standing there.
Okay.
Pulling souls back and forth. Like, they were at... Like, there was plenty of stopping points where they were like just standing there and pull up my power kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was always like there was always another stage coming. It was just very long.
Okay, that might be different then. I can't judge that fight because I've never watched it.
Maybe we watch it at some point. I know you were kind of interested in Dragon Ball Z a little bit.
A little.
I think you at least liked, what did we call him? Space Barbarian Gene Simmons? I thought you were into his whole aesthetic. Yeah.
I like Piccolo.
Piccolo is very cool.
He's my favorite. I know that much.
Yeah.
And I love the
Gohan's
baby.
Real dad.
I love
Gohan.
Yeah. And his little tail.
And his stepdad Piccolo.
Yeah, they're my favorites, to be honest. Piccolo's the real father.
Yeah.
But either way.
So other than the Hokage fight going on,
there were some interesting things going on.
Yeah. We don't get to see a whole lot of what happens with Kakashi and Guy as they're fighting at the stadium. We're really just seeing like the tail end of it. But we do have Sasuke going after Gaara and the Sand Trio. And we have Naruto, Shikamaru, Sakura, and Pakun the dog going after Sasuke. And then themselves being pursued as well. Shikamaru gets a fight.
Yeah, he stays behind.
Mm-hmm.
And he really steps up to the plate at that point, which once again made me like him more.
Yeah. Because that's another one of those things where, like, he's like, I could run away or I could stay here and probably die.
Yeah.
And he stays.
All right. And I felt like that was a lot of character growth because usually he takes the easy way out because he's kind of lazy. But the fact that he actually steps up and decides to stay, I think it showed a lot of maturity on his part. So I like that.
Definitely.
And the other people continue pursuing.
They had like a fight with Sasuke and Tamari, and then Shino shows up to fight Kankuro. Which, can we give points to Shino for being the most ninja-esque person in this entire show?
I don't remember this fight at all because it includes the two characters I always forget.
Bug Guy and Puppet Guy.
What happened between them?
Okay, so Puppet Guy is using his puppet to fight. Bug Guy is trying to find Puppet Guy because Puppet Guy does not want to be out in the open.
Okay.
And it's a series of it's like hit and run kind of thing.
Okay, I'm gonna say I do like Shino overall. I give him some shit, but I do like Shino for the most part.
Like, I think we give him shit because he's not very memorable and you don't remember him. Yeah, that's it.
That's kind of his shtick.
That's a good thing for a ninja.
Yeah.
As far as ninjas go, Shino's probably the best, in a traditional sense, ninja.
Yeah, he's definitely the best at sneaking around. And he's just
Which is a ninja thing.
He's kind of weird and creepy, so I like him enough, but...
Yeah.
I sometimes just mix up his look because he has those glasses with that other guy.
You mix him up with the adult
teacher.
Ebisu?
Yeah.
You know they have like a 3-foot difference, right?
Sometimes. I don't know. But, yeah, apparently they had a fight.
they did not apparently. They had one. I remember this.
You might have imagined it.
I might have imagined... Okay. Is Kankuro even real? Does Gaara just have a sister?
Gaara only has a sister.
Okay. I see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, that happens. Or maybe it didn't. And Sasuke eventually catches up with Gaara and Tamari, and...
Tamari just pieces out of the fight.
Well, yeah, because Gaara's like, I'm gonna go full demon, man.
Yeah,
he's got a demon inside him, and he's like, I'm gonna just fuck this shit up. And she's like, bye. She like looks at Sasuke. Good luck.
Pretty much.
So yeah, and then like that kind of starts that whole deal until Naruto shows up to help. Of like Sasuke dealing with a part Tanuki demon monster Gaara person.
Yeah, at some point Sakura gets hurt.
Well, yeah, after Naruto shows up.
Oh, it's after Naruto.
Because they all showed up at the same time. And then he gets his ass kicked. Because everyone's getting their ass kicked. And then Sakura gets smashed against a tree. He's like, I'm gonna crush this bitch. Bring it. And then Naruto finds the strength within him to make a bunch of clones and just smush the bad guy to the point where he's like, okay, I just gotta release the whole thing. And then he turns into a giant Tanuki monster.
Then it's a giant monster fight.
It's a kaiju fight.
Because he summons the frog.
Yep, he summons the frog. Gaara goes to sleep to let Shikaku fully control himself.
This is his first nap.
Yep.
Good for him.
Shikaku was just ready to be out in the world. Yeah,
Yeah, he was kind of weird. He wasn't what I expected.
Are they ever?
He was kind of like Sukuna.
Yeah, a little bit.
He was just having a good time.
Sukuna's a little bit more reserved than
He's
that.
a little more serious. I mean, when he first came out, though.
Yeah.
He was a little like
You know what? It's the first time he's been out in a very long time.
he was excited, but he doesn't last very long.
No, yeah, because Naruto and Boss Gamma, they dual transformation, turn to the nine-tailed fox, because of course he would. Mm-hmm. We have to have the giant kaiju Jinchuriki fight, and it's great. And they latch onto that thing, and Naruto goes and headsbutt Gaara awake. Mm-hmm. And then the entire sand thing collapses. And then it's just Naruto and Gaara. No more sand, no more chakra, no more nothing. We're just going to jump at each other and punch each other in the face. And then, yeah, that's it. Gaara's done. He's had a chakra. He just got punched. His wounds are still open. He's had a busy day. This has been a bad day for him. And Naruto's just like using his chin to crawl towards him like, I'm a bite you to death.
Yeah.
Just...
It's crazy, though, how it ends here.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then later on...
no, it doesn't end here. The Hokage takes away Orochimaru's arms because he can't take the whole soul, and therefore Orochimaru can't use hand signs, can't use jutsu. Your dream is dead, my friend.
Yeah, he finally dies.
Yes, he dies.
And Orochimaru does lose that. But why does the Sand Village just... like the leaf later? I think I missed something.
That's in the next arc, but they do pull out because the leaf village does counterattack, and they counterattack hard.
Oh, so they just kind of like give up.
Yeah, it was like they had the run of the place for like a couple hours, and while the leaf was evacuating civilians and stuff, and then the counterattack happened, all the people with the special powers showed up, and they just cleaned house.
Okay.
And then they were like, oh, we lost the secret weapon, the giant monster that was supposed to take out half the city?
I guess that was their main move.
Yeah, I think we're done. Also, Jiraiya takes out the giant snakes that they brought with a giant frog.
I guess so.
He could have shown up earlier. That's how you extend the Hokage fight. You bring in Jiraiya.
Yeah. Jiraiya is always a
little
late.
I think that's just the thing of those students, because didn't Jiraiya train the fourth Hokage, who trained Kakashi, who trained Sasuke? They're all late.
They're all very late.
But yeah, that ends with the Hokage's funeral after everything is all said and done, so. But then who shows up? Oh, it's Itachi!
Right? That was Itachi. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Itachi shows up and, like, fucks everybody up. Like, without breaking a sweat. He just, like...
It's that genjutsu.
He just strolls in with his shark friend, Street Shark, and then, like, 3 or 4 of the top ninjas in the village show up to try to stop him, and he's just like, you guys don't want any of this. They're like, oh, we want some of this. All right, hold my beer. And then, yeah, that's an old one. Yeah, he just kicks their...
He puts Kakashi in that
He puts Kakashi
genjutsu.
in a near coma.
Yeah, and Kakashi is down for the count.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first time we've seen somebody hit Kakashi that hard.
I mean, Zabuza put up a fight, but...
Yeah. But, I mean, Kakashi didn't even get any in himself with Itachi.
Yeah, he had to play purely defensive goods. Itachi just, like, out the gate. He's like, all right, I've already got my Shadow Clone. Nope, the Shadow Clone's a distraction. I'm blowing it up. Like, he reverse genjutsu'd Kurenai.
Sweat.
He was like, you guys are nothing. Do you know who I am? I'm Itachi fucking Uchiha. I killed the entire Uchiha clan. Who are you?
I can't think of any fight where he breaks a sweat until the very end.
No, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they only, like, leave because he's like, God, all right, you know what? This is going to be too much of a hassle if more people show up. I really don't feel like doing this. Let's leave. But, yeah, so he pieces out, and Jiraiya's like, all right, we need a new Hokage. And everyone's like, you should be Hokage. He's like, I should not be Hokage. No, thank you. I got another, there was that other student who, was trained under the third Hokage like me. No, Orochimaru's terrible. Why would you do that? And they're like, no. The other one. Oh, the girl. Because every squad is like 2 dudes constantly in rivalry and a girl.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah, it's very, like, I think that's part of the theme is, like, time is very cyclical. Yeah. And, like, patterns are constantly repeated, but, yeah, so now...
I'm surprised a girl and a guy are never rivals.
I'm trying to think now of, like, when they might have had that. I'm sure it
Maybe
can't...
Boruto and Sarada later on. Or is he rivals
Somehow
with
I doubt it.
The kid, the other kid?
I don't know. I haven't watched the show. I don't want to. I don't know.
So you don't think they're rivals?
I mean, as much as anyone can be a rival with anyone else in the same line of
Well, I mean, Naruto and Sasuke are obviously rivals.
Yeah.
I can see your doubt.
I don't know.
It's because she's a girl.
I'm really trying to think of one. And I don't know that there is one. And I think this is part of the thing of, like, he doesn't know how to write women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's for the grievances.
So Tsunade, the one that he kind of knows how to write?
Tsunade is a pretty good female character. I'll give him that.
Still got a bit of that, I'm totally hung up on one person my entire life kind of deal.
Yeah, that was the one thing that kind of tripped me up was that one.
Yeah.
What was his name? Dan.
I'm just going to call him Dan. He's milquetoast.
Yeah, I get she was in love with him or whatever, but...
He is... You know what? It's kind of nice to have a reverse fridging for once.
Yeah, it was a reverse fridging. That's fair. It was for her woman pain.
Yeah. Sorry. This is really... I don't know. Anywho, Jiraiya takes Naruto to go do this because he has to keep training this kid because, like, hey, Itachi's part of a group called the Akatsuki, and apparently they're bad news. And
do they know that he wants Naruto?
I think he does.
Oh, he knows. Okay.
Yeah. So they start running around, and he's like, I'm going to teach you a super technique. Cool. And...
Is this when he learned Rasengan?
Yeah, I mean, we're building up to it, but,
Yeah.
Sasuke finds out Itachi was in town, because some idiot had to say it in front of him. And he goes chasing after Naruto, which I love how he, like, goes to every inn and how he asks. It's like, have you seen a dumb-looking kid my age who's blonde and is traveling around with an old guy?
Yeah, that's
blonde
great.
Kid, stupid face. Just...
Like, that's the best descriptor you could come up with.
For him, yeah. Stupid face I want to kiss. I don't know.
I guess it worked. Eventually he found
He
him.
did, eventually. Like, and Jiraiya's, like, being Jiraiya, just stealing Naruto's money and
that was
using
so wrong of him.
Yeah, he's, like, an author who, like...
He has money.
Like, probably a lot.
Dude, I loved Naruto's little frog pouch.
Yeah, I know. You like his little
so
sleeping
cute.
cap, too.
Yes. He has so many cute little things.
Yeah. And, Itachi just knocks on his door. He opens it and he's like, Genjutsu, you're asleep now. All right, let's go.
Yep.
Then Sasuke shows up and gets the shit kicked out of him by his older brother. And then we get that meme.
The choke meme.
Yep. You don't hate me enough, and you know what? You never will. And, then Jiraiya shows up to save the boys, and he puts them inside the throat of a giant toad, because that's a thing you can do as a ninja.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't think we ever used that again.
Oh, we did, in Shippuden. He used it much later. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how, like, he uses toads so much later. I'm like, Naruto would never think of this. He made a toad into a bar.
That's true.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he runs off the Akatsuki, and he gets his face kicked by Guy. Just out of nowhere. Good times. Anywho, they send Sasuke back to recover because of Itachi used the Mangekyo Sharingan, and he used the Tsukuyomi and put Sasuke at a near coma just like Kakashi.
Yep.
from there, we're off to find Tsunade and Naruto, and is learning the Rasengan from Jiraiya. And this was the one you hated, the training section.
I liked the stuff with Tsunade.
No, I know, but like the training section.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I would hate it in isolation. I think it's just because we already saw him training with Jiraiya, and then this felt very similar to the other training with Jiraiya. They basically just go to a forest and train.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what they do every time.
Well, no. Last time they went to a forest and trained. Now they're traveling through a forest and training.
Okay.
Because they have a destination.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
It was a little bit less, maybe, but I think I was just kind of tired at that point. Once again, I don't know if it was actually a bad plot point. It just feels like sometimes they drag out his training sessions with Jiraiya a little bit too much. But overall, I think, we got to see the ins and outs of this new skill, and at least he has a new skill that he's going to rework like 10 times. But
yeah.
It was
not in this
still
series.
Kind of interesting. Not in this series. It's just going to be what it is for now. But it was kind of interesting, but yeah, I was a little bit bored with it. I think just when you're binging, I don't know if it would have been more or less boring if it wasn't being binged.
I mean, I think this is kind of like, we haven't really talked about flashbacks in a while, because I think they've been good up to this point. But this is kind of what I was saying about when we were, like, looking at the Zabuza fight, like, way back when. Like, I think part of the reason I gave that, like, episodes, like, 7 through 9 such low scores that week was because we were binging. And it was, like, it just felt so bogged down by all that stuff.
Yeah, because we know this.
Yeah.
And then just showing to us again, we just saw it.
It's not filler, but it feels like it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's padding.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel that way with the training stuff, too. It almost feels like they're slowing it down so that they have more time or something, even though I don't even know that that's the case.
I mean, at the very least, I think with this one, the reason they kept it so slow was because they wanted the big moment for him, like, at the end of the arc.
Yeah.
To have the technique in the big fight.
It's like, I can respect the time they took to do the training. I think I was just personally a little bit bored, but I don't think it was actually bad, necessarily.
Okay. Should we talk about Tsunade a little bit? Because that's the whole reason we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, we should say, like, Orochimaru doesn't have his arms working. He's like, I need someone to fix this shit. I need, like, the best medical person out there.
Yeah, Kabuto's apparently not good enough.
Well, when has he ever been? For anything.
We don't like Kabuto.
We don't like Kabuto.
Fix him. What is Kabuto really good for?
I mean, he's one of those subordinates who doesn't really, like, die, so consistency.
That's fair. He's
unkillable.
Like,
Orochimaru goes through subordinates, like, so fast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, Kabuto's got that going for him. But Tsunade's got that real good shit. And she's been missing because she transforms and looks like a 20-year-old instead of a 50-year-old that she is. And got a lot of gambling debts, so she skips town a lot. With her... I guess it would have been her niece. I think I discovered this time around that that's Dan's niece.
Yeah, so it's basically her niece in spirit. And the pig.
Yeah, the pig's useless.
She is there to hold the pig.
Yeah, she's there. That's her whole job.
A little bit.
That's like a pop star's entourage thing. I'm here to hold the dog when you're not holding the dog.
Yeah, kind of weird, but
I mean, she does other stuff later, but it's like, wow, that's all you're there for. She's kind of her Kabuto.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's not a compliment, is it?
Why doesn't Jiraiya have a Kabuto?
Because Naruto's his Kabuto. I don't know.
No!
You know what? We've kind of seen, like, later on in Shippuden, him taking people on doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe that's why he doesn't really go for assistance that often.
Maybe.
No, yeah, we have this a whole thing, like, Orochimaru's like, hey, I'll bring back your,
brother and boyfriend?
Yeah, I'm, like, just trying to describe them in a way that's actually interesting.
They both wanted to be Hokage.
Your bland ass loved ones. I'm sorry. I know it's a little insensitive, but that is what it is.
I think part of
Dan's
it is
fucking nothing.
I think
I
part
can see
of
the
it,
brother maybe.
Part of it is just, what time do they have to develop the side characters of the side characters?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. But yeah, he's like, I'll bring back your loved ones if you give me my arms. And she's like, give me a minute to think about it. And then Jiraiya shows up. He's like, hey, want to be Hokage? And she's like, dude, I hate that place, man. I hate that village. That's where my people died, and I'm not about going back there, because she's drunk at this point. And it's like, fuck that. She started all the medical stuff, and no one listened to her, and more people died, and eventually she was just like, I'm out. I'm done. Done doing this war stuff. I'm done doing this ninja stuff. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna steal my dead fiance's niece, and we're gonna go around gambling. I'm like, good for you. Live your best life. But, she's really not living her best life at that point.
Maybe if she was actually good at gambling.
Maybe.
Then I would say, okay.
She's like, notoriously bad.
Yeah.
And, like, and anytime she wins, she knows, like, oh, bad things are coming. This is a bad omen.
Yep.
Because I never win. It's like, I feel like, I almost wonder sometimes if, like, later on, like, she constantly, like, has, like, scratch-offs and stuff like that. Like, do you think she just does it to know when something bad's about to happen?
Probably.
Yeah.
Where does she continue to get the money?
I mean, you're paid as Hokage.
But before that...
She borrowed and then skipped town before she, like... There's a reason that she's missing a lot of places.
I thought it was just because, like, she couldn't pay it.
No, yeah, she can't pay it off.
But where does she get the money to continue gambling?
She borrows from loan sharks.
Okay.
And then she owes the gambling people. She owes the loan sharks. She just gotta get the fuck out. Skip town, change your face. Keep the pig, I guess. They should just look for the pig.
Yeah. Or the girl who holds the pig.
She never changes her face by the look of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all kind of comes together. They fight Orochimaru because Tsunade's kind of like, man, fuck Orochimaru. And makes a bet with Naruto that he can't figure out the Rasengan. But during the fight with Orochimaru, when they had, like... I kind of wish this fight had happened differently.
Yeah, she went down way too fast.
I think, like, part of it is a result of, like, before fighting Orochimaru, she was fighting the underling, and kind of, like, she used up her chakra.
But how powerful is Kabuto, really?
I know.
I don't feel like he should have been able to
He's as powerful as he
fast.
needs to be to weaken a person so that Orochimaru stands more of a chance. Because, like, everyone is coming into this fight handicapped. Yeah. Orochimaru don't got no arms. Tsunade has, like, hemophobia, which is a problem. Yeah. And Jiraiya got drugged. He got roofied by Tsunade the night before.
Yeah, they were all off their game.
Yeah, I wanted to see that's, like, the one complaint I have about this. I wanted to see them at full power. Yeah. All of them. Destroy everything.
Yeah, we never actually got to see them fight each other fully.
Not really. The closest we got was with the Hokage fight, I think. Because that was definitely Orochimaru at full strength. Yeah,
but Jiraiya and Tsunade were not there.
No. Jiraiya could have been. But he's late.
So it was an okay fight, but it didn't stick out. It was okay.
Yeah. The main thing was Naruto figured out the Rasengan. He blasted Kabuto through a rock or two. He made Tsunade believe in ninjas again, and he won a necklace.
Leave it to Naruto. Make people believe.
Hey, you better believe it.
Believe it. He actually stopped saying that as much.
Yeah, we should point that out. Like some of the tropes that, like, a lot of people complain about go away very quickly in this show. They're still padding and stuff like that, but then there's always the occasional flashback. But overall, like, I think they, like, drop a lot of, like, the negative things people say about it a lot of times. Other than Sakura sucking ass.
That's kind of fixed in Shippuden.
That's a whole separate series. It's not fixed here. Yeah. I can still complain.
Yeah.
But yeah. They bring Tsunade back. And there's like a filler episode with Naruto being chased by Shizune because people owe money, but they didn't owe money, so the whole thing was fucking pointless. And we just watched a filler episode in Shippuden, which was exactly the same thing. It was just as pointless, so it's kind of fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
It for anyone who knows, it's the Naruto outbreak thing. This is solved in 2 minutes, just explaining the situation.
They could have talked to him.
How are you the leader of this village that you couldn't even think of that? Oy.
They needed the plot to work.
The plot did not work.
But I mean, they needed a reason for them to chase him around.
It's fucking stupid.
I know, but I'm saying why they did it.
Anyway, they get back to the village. Tsunade takes over as Hokage. She's going to fix Rock Lee. And then we get a filler episode, the best filler episode. We gotta see Kakashi's face.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We've talked about that extensively. It's the best filler episode that the show has. It might be the best, like, just random filler episode in most shonen.
Yeah.
Give it a watch. It's worth it. Steve Bloom's the villain, again.
Yeah.
Always fun. And he's a fun villain this time, as opposed to a serial killer or a serial killer. He plays a lot of serial killers in the show. Yeah, after that, it's... God, what? Oh, God, it was the race thing.
Was it that race?
It was the race arc.
That was actually, like, one of the worst fillers.
Yeah, it's not filler, I don't think. It's canon.
It felt like it was.
So, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura sans Kakashi for some reason go to protect some kid in a race from, like, an island to another island and back and up some stairs, and it's a whole thing. And, you know, they're protecting him from the Gimp Suit Rain Ninja and some, like, Leaf Ninja defector who has a lightning sword from the second Hokage. It sounds interesting when I'm describing it, but it's really not. It's really boring, and no one likes this kid, and I don't know anyone who likes this arc.
Oh, really? So it wasn't just us, it's unpopular?
No, I don't know anyone who likes this arc. And the only reason it's there is to point out that Naruto is caught up to Sasuke. Like, I'm just gonna bury the whole thing. Like, this was no one likes this. But we needed the moment at the end where Sasuke's like gets his ass kicked and Naruto beats the villain, so that one, it kind of parallels the situation with the Chunin exam when Naruto beat Gaara and Sasuke didn't.
Yeah. You would think that maybe that would have been enough to convince Sasuke that maybe Naruto's caught up already.
Maybe. But, like, then you would have to immediately do the next arc after that.
Guess,
and that wasn't enough time, especially because they had to go get Tsunade.
They needed to re-emphasize it.
Yeah, they re-emphasized that in this boring-ass arc. And, yeah, so they get back. We get Long Leg Sasuke. Which is just, if you don't know that, look
great.
it up. It's hilarious. It's just this weird blanket thing.
That's good.
Yeah, but at that point, like, Sasuke's very much like, he's finally got to the point where, like, Naruto caught up to me. How the fuck did he catch up to me? And he's like, I gotta fight you. So they go and fight on the roof, and Sakura is there.
She tries to stop them.
Does she? Does she really? Or does
tries.
she just say, please stop?
That's her way.
You're a
of
ninja.
trying.
Get in there.
Yeah.
Honestly, this should have been the biggest wake-up call for her of, like, I gotta train more.
She cries on the sidelines. I don't know.
Oh my god, yes, because that's so useful. Yeah, Naruto and Sasuke nearly kill each other on this rooftop fight, which is actually not a bad fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Kakashi comes in to break it up, and we see they're both thrown into water towers. Sasuke does a decent amount of damage. Naruto doesn't look like he made a lot of damage, but when they sees the back of the tower, it's completely exploded. So Naruto's got the power advantage, and Sasuke's really getting to be an angsty boy now. So much so, like, are we getting flashbacks already for him? Or is that later?
I think that's during their fight.
Okay. Yeah, Sasuke goes off and he's like moping, and then Kakashi shows up and he's like, hey, what you moping about? He's like, oh yeah, how about I kill everyone you know and love? Maybe you'll know what I'm moping about. Oh, you could try. They're already dead. Check yourself. and yeah, he's kind of like putting things in perspective. Yeah, you live this life, man. This is like, we've all lost people. Which is like, you shouldn't diminish the fact that this kid's going through something. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you can talk about this.
I just you're
not the only person living with this. You can talk to people.
I think under the circumstances, when we find out what he really went through, it's shocking that he's as sane as he is. Because he went back, and this village, like, does not give a fuck about its orphans or whatever. Because they just hand these kids an apartment. They're like, here you go, just fend for yourself.
Rent's due on the 3rd.
Yeah, it's like they don't find a family to put them with. Anybody to
There's
take
no
care
foster
of
care,
them.
there's no adoption, there's no anything.
Yeah, even just an informal, hey, this family's nice and willing to take you in here.
Or like, here's a guy, he's gonna come around every 2 days to check in on you. You can talk with him, you know, he can help you with whatever you're doing.
Like, they don't explain that there's any kind of social support or even any support for these children.
You know, it's funny. There's a phrase called, it takes a village. Apparently it doesn't.
They don't care about that. It's like, these kids' parents die. In Sasuke's case, everyone died.
My God.
I mean, they did not care. They just gave an apartment and said, just fend for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, we explore the problems with the Leaf Village way more in Shippuden than we do here, but yeah, it's kind of a glaring issue.
It's pretty bad, the fact that they're just alone.
Yeah.
So, I've actually got to give Sasuke credit for not going completely.
Give Naruto credit, too.
Yeah, Naruto as well, but I'm just saying, yeah, maybe Kakashi needs to step back and think about it.
Yeah, it's like, I get what he's saying, but he could have said it a lot better.
Yeah, that wouldn't have convinced me.
Yeah. But Sasuke's thinking about it. But then Orochimaru's henchmen show up, and they're like, hey, we're going to kick your ass real quick. Hey, you want to be more powerful? Come with us to Orochimaru. And he's like, okay. He packs his stuff.
It didn't take much convincing.
Nope. He was down to clown, and Sakura tries to stop him.
She's like, I love you.
You're annoying. I'll scream. It's like knockout.
It's like the least romantic moment.
Yeah.
She tried, but not convincing enough.
How had Naruto done it? Sasuke, I love you.
I don't know if it would have worked.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah, so he's gone, and that's bad, because now he's a rogue ninja, which is, you know, we learned way early in the series, that's bad. He's carrying secrets from the Leaf Village. The Hokage is not pleased. And she's like, okay, we gotta get people. We gotta get people on this. Who do we got? Nobody, because everyone's out on missions and we're still trying to rebuild the whole place because Orochimaru destroyed the place? Okay, send in the Genin. And Shikamaru gets promoted to Chunin. Because of course he does.
He was the only one.
He was the only one, yeah. Because he was the only smart one.
Yeah. I mean, even though he lost his fight, he actually won his fight.
Yeah. No, everyone knows, but, like, he was still, like, he even if he's not the toughest guy, like Naruto or Neji or Sasuke, he's, like, clearly the smartest of them all, which is what you want when you're, like, running a mission. And that was, like, their exact logic in promoting him. And then they're like, hey, so guess what your first mission is? Sasuke ran away to join, you know, an evil organization that tried to kill us. So we need you to get him back. And he's like, all right, let me assemble the best team that I can. Who do we have available? Absolutely no one. You're going to have to go with, like, your classmates. And he's like, well, fuck a duck. All right, we're getting Naruto. We're getting Choji. Oh, hey, Kiba, how you You want to come? Sure. Oh, hey, Neji, Rock Lee, what's going on? Hey, Neji, we need a lot of help.
Yeah, Rock Lee couldn't come because he was injured.
Well, he's healed now. Tsunade did heal him, but he's still in physical therapy.
Yeah, he showed up later, but he can't right now.
Yeah. And then Sakura goes to see them off because she knows she's only gonna slow them
down. I hate that though. Because
what would she have done?
I'm just saying it would have shown some kind of growth if she had went anyway. If she had been like, you know what? I'm not as useful as these guys, but I care about this person. She's probably the only one who cares about him that much, except maybe Naruto.
Yeah, he's in love with him.
Probably Naruto and Sakura, but it's like I just can't fathom why she wouldn't even want to try.
Let's be honest here. She did her best the night before, and that's the best she could do. What else is she going to do?
But you wouldn't have had some respect for her if she had decided to go anyway. Kind of like, well, I can't, can I spoil that?
What are you going to spoil?
It was about Shippuden. Can I say it?
Sure, I guess.
Okay, I'm not always the biggest fan of Hinata, but she showed up for Naruto in a huge fight in Shippuden when he was down, and she couldn't do shit. I mean, how much could she really do? She's not nearly as powerful as he is. But she showed up anyway, and I think that showed some strength of character that made me like her a little bit more. Because even though it didn't show strength in her powers, it showed strength in who she is.
I mean, but at that point, she actually had power. Like, not a lot. She wasn't, like, amazing at that point compared to Naruto.
Comparison.
But, like, no, I really want you to think about this.
In comparison to their enemy, she was pretty weak. But, like, it's the same as Sakura in comparison to Sasuke. She's pretty weak. But she still could have tried. I'm really
just thinking, like, she comes along, she's the first to die. What does she contribute?
I just think it would have...
I think it was the first really realistic moment for her of being like, yeah, I need to stay home because I can't help. She's going to be more of a hindrance than anything on this mission.
So you liked that she didn't come along, even though supposedly that's the love of her life?
No, but I didn't really like Sakura at this point. I didn't care.
I cared. I'm just saying.
I get it. Had maybe she made the offer of like, I need to come, and then because someone's like, don't, you can't.
Yeah, if she had at least offered, because you know, if Naruto, every bone in his body was broken, he would still win.
I think he's basically said that once or twice.
Yeah. He would have won anyway, and that's why we like Naruto.
But that's how we know that he's really in love with Sasuke. It's not just he's hot.
That's part of it. But...
I mean, I'm sure it helps. But
I'm just saying, it's the strength of his will, you know?
Yeah.
That he would go anyway.
I never realized that Sakura at this point had strength of will.
I'm saying if she would have at least offered to go or win anyway, it would have showed that she had some. But then she proved that she didn't.
Yeah, she's got a lot to learn, and she better be learning it before Shippuden, because that's when she needs to be useful.
All right. I'm just saying. You know Naruto would have won anyway.
No, but he's the protagonist. So. You
know Hinata would have won anyway if it was Naruto.
I really think the only reason that happened was because it was right in front of her.
Oh, so you don't think she would have went?
I think if someone told her, like, you're going to be more of a hindrance than a help, she would have been like, okay.
Damn it. I'm trying to defend Hinata here.
I'm sorry, I don't know how you can defend a whole lot of the women in the show. I don't want to sound like I'm just hating on the women in the show, but, like, they're not written well.
They are significantly worse written than the male characters. Mm-hmm. It's clear that he doesn't know what he's doing, and he, with the females, and I'm not sure he knows how to write romance either. But it's like... Are
you kidding? Do you not see the
All right.
You know where I'm going with this.
Sasuke, Naruto, epic romance right there. But I'm just saying, aside from Jiraiya and Tsunade, which I will still hold the torch for them.
Okay.
Yeah, he kind of fails in terms of a lot of, like, the female characters, but I can find some bright spots. I don't think they're totally hateable. But it's just like with a few tweaks, they could be better, is my thing.
Yeah.
And this would have been one of those tweaks where it would have made me respect Sakura a lot. Personally. I know you think she would have been being stupid, but I think it would have showed she was brave.
Here's the thing. Ultimately, she's never going on that mission.
She never went, yeah.
No. Like, even if she wanted to go, she's not going on that mission. At some point, like, even if you, like, I think the most realistic scenario, had she offered, it would have been like, I'm coming with you. And they're like, no. And she's like, okay. And she goes home and cries. I don't know. Like, realistically.
Rock Lee went, and he's not even friends with Sasuke. He went, and he was all broken.
He's Rock Lee.
But that's
Rock
what
Lee
I'm
with
saying.
a broken arm and leg is still more useful than Sakura.
All right,
at
but
this
nobody
point.
thought that. So it's like, I think
Yeah, because he's in the middle of recovery.
it's what makes us like Rock Lee and Naruto, though, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That's like, against all odds, they'll still do what's right, especially when it comes to the people they love. Once again, Rock Lee doesn't even love Sasuke.
So you're saying that Naruto does love Sasuke.
Alright, even, like, if we're talking platonically, he obviously loves Sasuke.
Yeah.
You know, as, like, his friend. Sakura supposedly loves him more. And anyway, I'm done with my rant. It's never ending. Are you laughing at her loving him more?
I don't know. I'm just laughing in general, I guess.
Alright.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Anyway.
They're on the mission. They're going. They're like, it's basically, this whole thing comes down to just like it's a chase and a series of like individual battles between each of the members of Team Retrieval and Team Take the Sasuke Boy. And
they have him in a little basket or something. I forget what it is.
Yeah, it's a coffin.
It's a coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had to die to fully unlock the curse mark. He's he's only mostly dead.
Mm-hmm.
And he's mostly dead a lot.
Yeah.
More than once is a lot when you think about it. Anywho, yeah, each of the sound ninjas has like some cool powers or some interesting powers at the very least. And, the fights vary from cool to very big or very small or very, like, long sometimes. I know you weren't a fan of all of them.
I think the thing for me, I think they were all very good fights individually, like if I looked them up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem was that they all had the same format, where it was like they get into the fight, and
they're initially tripped up by the new person's power.
Yeah, and then it's like each villain has like their second final form, and then their final form.
Yeah, that's definitely a Dragon Ball thing.
And it happens each time, and then the hero has to match it. And it's like, I understand that that's how shonen fights are a lot, but it kind of felt a little samey after.
It's a touch formulaic.
When you watch it like back to back. Once again, I think the individual fights are awesome. Like if I just looked up Neji's fight, I'm sure I would look at it and be like, this is really cool. And his stuck out to me a lot. Like, I really liked Neji's fight, actually.
I think it's because, like, I think what works the most is, like, and I think this is a thing for the overall show, is that every person specializes in one particular type of thing, but then it's how they use it to defeat, like, whatever opponent has whatever other kind of thing. And I see that especially when you look at someone like Neji or Rock Lee or something, who are very much just, I know Kung Fu.
Mm.
How am I using my Kung Fu to get around Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting. Like, Choji fights...
That was pretty
dude.
good, too. I like Choji's because...
Well, that was a big character thing for him.
That was the first time I had really seen more character from him. He was always kind of a one-note character. He was just, like, comic relief, The
fat guy.
He's just the fat guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But, we saw some of his past with Shikamaru and some of their friendship and how he grew through that.
Speaking of flashbacks to when they were kids, and especially talking Shikamaru, Choji, and I'm going to include Kiba in this. How did Naruto not have friends when all four of them were constantly in trouble running around out of detention?
Yeah, that was a little weird.
It felt like, because, like, from the beginning, they're like, Naruto has no friends. He's totally alone. Yeah. But then, like, a bunch of flashbacks show him hanging out with people pretty regularly.
And just knowing his personality, sometimes it's hard for me to believe that he didn't get along with people because he seems to make friends wherever he goes.
I mean, I think you could make the argument of, like, he was very, like, closed off personally and didn't let anyone in until Iruka kind of shared his story and, like, helped him out with that. And that kind of opened him up a little bit. But still, I mean, this is not the first time. Like, there's a whole thing with that Shippuden filler flashback deal where it's like, you're trying to retroactively change things. Like, there's a whole episode that we were like, what the fuck is this?
They added scenes that were not there before and, changed a scene.
Whatever, you guys remember episode 3 where Naruto turns into Sasuke. They have a filler in Shippuden where it flashes back to what Kakashi saw, because he was apparently there the whole time watching them. And they just completely rewrite the episode and all the events that happen. I'm like...
Well, only a couple events were totally rewritten.
I'm going to say half of it is made up.
Yeah.
And is not
It's
there
at
in the
least
original
altered.
episode.
Yeah.
And I'm
Definitely
like...
the fight between Sasuke and Naruto was heavily
Which
altered.
one? There's like 2 that didn't happen.
The one where he attacks him with the shadow clones and then he uses the sexy jutsu on him.
Yeah, that never happened.
Which never happened.
Like, just... I don't know. Like, here's the thing. It's so easy just to go back and watch an episode real quick. If you want to do... Like, I like that kind of storytelling thing.
I think they wanted to try something different, maybe. I think they knew it didn't happen. I mean, there's no way they were deluded into thinking it happened. They were making a new
Well,
scene.
then why are they having Kakashi give a flashback of, like,
I
hey,
don't
I
know
remember seeing
why
these
they
kids
did it.
do this.
I think they just
That's not
wanted
what
to
happened.
make a new Sasuke-Naruto fight that wasn't that serious.
They did that in the episode directly afterwards, and it worked
Yeah,
because
it
it
worked
wasn't
better.
something we'd already seen and knew what happened.
And he used the sexy jutsu again, and it still didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know how he continued doing that.
Great question. I don't got an answer.
It was one of his previous 2 moves.
Mm-hmm.
So, either way.
So he's got sexy jutsu, he's got shadow clones, he's got summoning and Rasengan. He got 4 moves.
He has 4.
He's practically a Pokemon.
Yeah.
So Choji fights big... I'm just gonna call him wrestler dude because he kind of seems like a wrestler type of guy, and he turns into a butterfly and smashes him with a super mega punch.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Plus a nice little moment at the end where it was like the group left like a little sign for him on the trees. It was like, we're waiting for you, hurry up. And he was like, I have friends who care about me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was nice. That is good for Choji. And then he passes out, probably to die. We don't know. He's not going to die, but like, I don't know. You could have made the argument like when it first came out, you didn't know what was going to happen. It was like, maybe he might be dying. Then it's Neji's fight. He fights Spider Dude, who has 6 arms, shoots spider silk, makes golden armor out of his sweat, can summon giant spiders who make more spiders. He's got so many, they're like, how many different powers can a spider person have? Let's just give him all of them. Cause like, I'm actually reminded a little bit of Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Like the spider family, how each of them had like 1 power. He's all of them combined. It's like, how many things can we give him? But Neji, he's mostly defensive in this fight. He doesn't really have a way to fight him because the guy's mostly long range. And Neji is very much close range. But he figures out a way to get around the blind spot on his Byakugan, and he dances and fights his way around all the spiders and everything else, and eventually takes down the dude. And again, I don't really know how to describe this fight, because it's mostly that. It's just, it's seeing what Neji can already do and seeing it applied to a much larger scale, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of him kind of pulling a Rock Lee, just pushing himself beyond what he was capable of, which was good. Where do we go from there? Because the rest of the fights are a little bit intertwined aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit scattered, so it's a little bit harder to summarize, but
yeah,
some of them stuck out a little bit.
Yeah, because it kind of comes down to Kiba starts fighting this double-headed twin dude who turns into, I think they're like Oni or something. And Shikamaru fights a girl who uses a flute to control a bunch of ogres. And Naruto chases down the new member, the Bone Man, who I think is cool. I don't know that you cared that much about him, but I thought he was like, his fights were kind of cool.
Yeah, he was kind of cool.
Yeah, he like chases him out, and yeah, everyone's having issues because, I mean, long and short of it, like, Shikamaru outthinks this girl, but like he just doesn't have like the chakra to finish the fight. Kiba, it was kind of interesting. It was like creepy. It was kind of like The Thing. That guy like put himself in his opponent's body to like kill him. It was like he absorbed himself in there, so he was like, oh, I'm just gonna stab myself in the liver and that'll hurt you. And it does, but at what cost? So that happens, and then Naruto, this bone dude with a single bone sword, takes down an army of Narutos, and he's like, wow, we're pretty much fucked. And that's when Sasuke pops out of his pressure cooker, and he runs off, because, I am off to Orochimaru now.
He really did a weird laugh something.
He just runs away. I don't think, have we ever heard Sasuke
weird.
laugh?
No.
Like, it can't be weird. It's Yuri Lowenthal. Like, he's not, like, a crazy, weird voice actor. But,
it was weird for Sasuke.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but Naruto can't chase him because of Bone Dude. Except Rock Lee shows up!
Yeah.
And then he fights Bone Dude, and then he gets drunk and fights Bone Dude. Like, great fight. Great for Rock Lee.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Always fun to see him. Plus, it's interesting. It's a kung fu fight versus, it's like two kung fu kind of guys.
Yeah.
So,
it was a pretty fun fight to watch.
Yeah. Like, especially, like, his name is Kimimaru. Bone guy. Like, he's super observant. Like, you can tell that from the way he fights. He can, like, definitely, like, as soon as he, like, starts watching someone a little bit, he can start reading their moves super easy and instantly knows how to counter all of it. And it's kind of fun that, like, Rock Lee was supposed to, like, take some medicine, but he accidentally took sake. Why did she leave sake in his room?
Don't know.
That's weird. Tsunade, you're drinking on the job. Not something that Hokage should do. Definitely not something a doctor should be doing. But, I do like Kimimaru's, like, kind of, I'm the honorable kind of guy. Because, like, Rock Lee's like, time out. I have to take my medicine. He's like, all right, I'll give you a minute.
Yeah, he stopped. It was great.
Let me know when you are ready. Like, golf clap. Good for you. But yeah, Rock Lee gets drunk, and he's like, I will fuck you up.
Yeah.
And the fight gets
Apparently he has a history of
Oh,
going all
yeah.
crazy when he's drunk.
Yeah, he got, like, just a little bit when he, like, went out with Mike Guy the one time because he mistook their glasses. And he just wrecked the joint. Apparently it took Guy and Neji to like, calm him down. Like, I need to see that episode.
Yeah, that's the filler we need.
He's a lightweight. As soon as he takes a sip, he's gone, and he's like, I'm a show off. And so, yeah, his moves are unpredictable. He suddenly becomes a master of drunken fist, and yeah, it's kind of tough for Kimimaru to fight that. So he goes curse mark, like everyone goes curse mark. And it's like, they're at the point where Kiba and Shikamaru and Rock Lee, they're going down. They can't keep up with them anymore. And that's when the Sand Trio shows up to save the day. Yep. Cool shit.
So I guess they're buddies now.
Well, we didn't mention this. Directly after they retreated, they found out, we didn't mention this before, but Orochimaru was disguised as the Sand Village's leader during the invasion, and they found out, Orochimaru's been manipulating our village for months, pretending to be our leader.
That's true.
We kind of got suckered. We're sorry. Yeah, so they're like, hey, we'll help you with this if you maybe just, like, let's water under the bridge. It's kind of like they got some work to do.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so Gaara comes to help Rock Lee, Tamari comes to help Shikamaru, and the two people you don't care about helped each other. The two you constantly confuse.
Ah, yes. Kiba and Gaara's brother.
Well, you're technically right. Yeah, so they actually make pretty quick work of everybody. Kankuro just chops up the twin man. Tamari crashes a forest on top of the girl, and Gaara had a little bit more trouble because Kimimaru goes full dinosaur on him, and yeah, he basically has to, like, turn the entire field into sand to crush him, and even that doesn't work. And the only reason that they win is because Kimimaru had a terminal heart disease that he was fighting through, and he just died at the moment he was about to strike the final blow. And they's like, wow, Gaara and Lee got lucky.
Yeah, did we mention that he was originally Orochimaru's vessel?
We did not mention that, but yeah, he was. And
that was like his life's purpose.
Yeah,
because he was from the Mist Village.
That's a whole deal. Like, we learn about that later. That's a whole fucking deal. That's a fucked up nation, and we eventually learn why, but yeah, like, it's astounding such a creep can get so many, like, followers who are so devoted. You know, maybe it's because he's a creep. He's got that, like, cult leader vibe.
I guess. I don't know.
Like,
but he's got a lot of people really devoted to just giving their body to him.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's some others who were, like, in a filler arc, so I don't know if we can count that, but, like, yeah.
But, I mean, he's got a whole room full of people.
Oh, no, those were just, like...
Or did he just capture them?
He captured them. They were, like...
They were not willing participants.
I don't know if they worked, so I don't know if I called them slaves, but they're definitely fodder for his experiments. He's fucked up. And
so that one that he ends up taking.
Yeah, there was a battle royale where Kabuto was like, hey, whoever wins this gets to leave. It was a lie.
Right.
But he's basically like, Orochimaru was like, I'm going to take your body. Do you want anything in exchange? He's like, let my people be free and, you know, not have to deal with you. Cool. And so he just does his body switch thing. He was supposed to do it with Sasuke, but didn't get there in time. Oh, that brings us to the big fight.
Yeah.
The big fucking fight. The big ass long fight when you really think about it.
It was how many episodes?
I don't remember when Kimimaro ended, because I think he was the last bit of that fight. But it's at least a good 10 to 15.
Somehow, I didn't mind it with this. And I think part of it was because it's kind of a penultimate fight between the two, like, main characters, arguably. Yeah. And also because the flashbacks that they had were very important. Yeah,
like, the actual fight is not super long.
It was just, it had those Sasuke flashbacks with it.
Yeah, Sasuke's, like, we're actually seeing the full extent of his, like, trauma, really. Like, we're flashing back to, like, when his brother was around, what that whole thing was, his relationship with him, his relationship with his parents, like, and then the build up to the massacre, and then we see the massacre, and then he walks home and sees everything, and then he's like, what happened, big brother? I killed everybody. Why? I don't know. Felt like it. I felt good, and, you know, I wanted to see how good I was. And now I'm gonna put you into that magic genjutsu, and I'm gonna make you relive this for a week. And he's like, "Fuck, yeah, you feel that hatred? Let it boil inside you, make it strong. Then come find me."
After he's killed his best friend.
Yeah, you can unlock the super Sharingan that I have if you kill your best friend. So yeah.
He's like, I don't have any friends, but then later on...
You better make some! Yeah, so that's ultimately that, and that's kind of running parallel to a lot of the things that are going on in the fight, but, like, ultimately it's the Naruto Sasuke fight for real.
Yeah.
Like, they're throwing everything. Any technique they got, any personal shit they want to throw at each other, they're just throwing it. Sasuke gets full Sharingan, Naruto eventually fully gets encased by demon chakra. He's a one tail now, and just they wreck each other's shit. And, like, I forget, like, it was like probably like 133, I think, which is like right before the last of the fight. That was the point where they were like,
curse mark thing?
It was before the curse mark thing. It was right when Naruto, like, fully embraces the demon chakra. And they just, like, he starts wailing, then you just get that good animation. Like, that really good animation.
Yeah, it did look really good.
Like, it's a fantastic, like, you just feel like the energy of it comes off the screen.
Yeah.
And, like, just, they're just throwing shit. Like, anytime the water crashes or the rocks break or, like, they just blast each other with just a fireball or whatever, you feel it. It's probably one of their best fight scenes they've ever animated.
Yeah.
Ultimately leads up to the big showdown at the waterfall. Sasuke goes full curse mark. Naruto is full fox mode. Chidori Rasengan. They blast into purple and a giant... But I was very, very confused as to how that all worked.
The purple?
Yeah, the purple that turned into the void orb or whatever.
That's what happens when you mix them. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I think Gojo taught us that. Red shift, blue shift,
Yeah.
make purple shift. I don't know.
Yep.
Everything comes back to that. But yeah, Sasuke goes for the supposed kill, takes him in the chest. Naruto scratches his headband. And then they're just kind of left with like, okay, Sasuke's still standing. Naruto's not. It starts raining. They have a moment. They have a moment.
He's unconscious, but it is a moment.
Well, that's why we couldn't have the moment.
What's...
He was unconscious. Come on.
Oh.
Sasuke may be a monster in a lot of ways, but he knows consent.
Yeah. He just stares at him for a while.
Oh, he's been staring at him his whole life. Yeah, Sasuke leaves.
Honestly,
Sasuke
yeah,
leaves.
they did have some... I don't remember
There
if it
was
was
like
Naruto's thoughts about like his relationship
It was
with Sasuke.
both of them.
Yeah, it was
a
both
little
of
bit.
them thinking about as children, like they wanted to talk to each other.
Yeah, like Naruto, I think he mentions like I had heard about what happened to you, and I was like he wishes he had like made an effort to reach out to him, because to some degree Naruto did know what he was going through, and maybe had Naruto reached out when he was like 7 or something, maybe it would have given Sasuke enough of a connection to like work through his shit.
Yeah, like things could have been a lot better if they had just come together instead. And like Sasuke would sit by the water by himself, and Naruto would pass him on the way home and kind of be like, maybe I should talk to him. But then Sasuke would look back, and Naruto.
They just had to be little tsunderes about it.
Yeah, they were just like super tsundere. But I think it was nice to see, that they really understand each other, but they just got in each other's way somehow, and just they got in their own way and just never spoke to each other. And unfortunately, like sometimes that is what happens in real life too. I think like when people just like could have helped each other or been friends, but they just like never met in the middle.
Yeah, that's sad, but yeah, that's pretty much where that went and what happened. And Sasuke leaves for the Sound Village, and Orochimaru, who's now in his new body, and Kakashi comes and picks up Naruto because he finally made it. He's always late. Had he shown up like 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah. Finally.
Yeah. So they go back, and Naruto's like, sorry, Sakura, I couldn't help him. And Sakura's like, well, maybe I should start trading, and maybe I can do it. You should have said that years ago.
She's been training as long as they have been.
Has she?
Technically.
Has she? I don't know. And Jiraiya's like, you should give up on him. He's like, nah. Then you're an idiot. Well, then I'm an idiot.
Pretty much.
And then we go into like, Jiraiya's like, I'm gonna train you for a couple years. You got a little bit of time before he has to switch bodies again. So we got like 3 years before that'll happen to Sasuke. Let me train you. And he's like, okay, but first filler arcs. And we're not gonna talk too much about that.
So much filler.
We watched a couple.
Yeah.
We didn't watch the arcs. We like specifically refrained from those, but we did watch like some of the individual episodes that were a little more on the comedic side, I think.
I liked that one with the mailman.
Yeah, the one with Jiraiya's like manuscript or something, and like
that one was good.
That was fun. We saw the thing with the Sasquatch sloth thing.
That one was kind of weird.
It was.
It was a thing.
There was one where 2 guys try to impersonate Rock Lee and Might Guy, but everyone but Naruto notices.
Yeah.
And then there was kind of the one that was sort of similar, Rock Lee's dojo.
Yeah, what was that one with the cooking?
Oh,
had,
the
like, a
ramen
cook-off?
thing. Yeah, like the ramen place who are Naruto's real family, let's be honest. And the daughter gets kidnapped by Chef Ninja.
Yeah, Chef Ninja. That was weird.
Yeah, they have to make the ultimate ramen to get her back. It was dumb, but it was kind of just like one of those like fun sort of like what is going on episodes. I think the one that I kind of said but we didn't like really watch was like the Shino at the funeral thing. But
yeah, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it's like the only time he has ever laughed, and it freaks Naruto out. There's like some other ones here and there, but like they're varying degrees of like to. The best one is the Kakashi face thing. Like,
I
it's
think that Jiraiya one was a close second, though. I thought that
not
was
bad.
a pretty good
Not bad
film.
overall, but, like...
The Kakashi face thing is obviously still best.
It's like, how do you have a main plot, a B plot, villains with a backstory, like, so many shenanigans, and you did it for a filler episode? You did not have to go that hard, but you did, and we appreciate it. Golf clap. Yeah, I that's it for this series, but, like, where are we, like... I'm trying to think here. Do we talk grievances? Because we've kind of been sprinkling them in.
A little bit. I think we've sprinkled a few in.
I think most of our complaints have been Sakura.
I think a lot of it, unfortunately, is... I don't know. I think most of the fandom has talked about that the female characters are a little weak.
Yeah.
And
a lot.
I think one of the major issues is that they tend to revolve around a dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sakura
like,
and Ino revolve around
even
Sasuke.
Tsunade, who...
To an extent.
She gets more later. I think it's just because she's older and she's, like, had more...
She has more
life.
Stuff to her than just the dude thing. And she
but it
never
might just be
seemed
because he's dead.
Obsessed. Yeah, I don't know. But it doesn't feel like that's, like...
Ten didn't even get
obsessed.
a thing.
Okay, Ten and Tamari did not ever have that issue.
I feel like Tamari was probably, of the young cast, Tamari was probably the best female.
Yeah, I at least didn't have any issues with her.
Yeah.
I think it's...
I mean, part of it might just because she has so little screen time in comparison.
Yeah, it's hard to be irritated by somebody who's not there very much.
But she probably had as much screen time as Hinata, and I know you didn't like her.
That's the thing. I think, Tamari and Hinata are probably even. I think Hinata I hold to higher standards because everybody knows she ends up with Naruto.
Oh no, spoilers.
Yeah, but everybody knows that. And I just wish that there was more to that, I think. Because it really just feels like she's obsessed with Naruto for good reason. I think her reasons for loving Naruto are a lot more understandable than Sakura, where sometimes I don't fully think she understands who Sasuke is. No. And I don't know that she loves him for the right reasons.
I don't think any of them do.
Yeah.
Like, we can tell he's hot. Like, even Tamari was kind of like, who's the hottie when she first saw him? But, like, that's the extent of it.
For that reason.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, Naruto, it was his first kiss. Of course he's going to love him.
But I think, like, if we're talking about people who actually know him, once again, I think Naruto and Kakashi were the two where it feels like...
I'd say, yeah.
They care about him because they understand where he's coming from. And they feel a connection with him for that. Maybe it's because they went through what they went through, and Sakura didn't, but...
No, yeah.
So I think maybe that's why.
They kind of, like, point that out right away in episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so. So I think, like, that's part of it, but it's just, like, I think they could have had more where Sakura began to recognize Sasuke's deeper stuff, you know, and loved him for that instead. And maybe later on they do. I don't want to judge it too much because I haven't watched all of Shippuden. But from what I can tell, she's barely made contact with him. Because he's off. But...
Yeah, he's off being evil.
Right, so it's like, I don't know how they'll develop it in a way that really feels genuine, but I think Hinata and Naruto, maybe they have chances where she could join them on a mission or something. She just doesn't.
There's a filler arc with that, but it doesn't go anywhere, so it's a filler arc, so who gives a shit?
She's barely with Naruto there, she's with other people.
No, they're all like, it's a small group, they're together.
Oh, wait, we're not talking about the crystal thing?
No, in this series.
Oh,
there was a filler arc. It had something to do with bees. And she had a special technique to fight the bees. I forget.
Either way, if we're just going off of canon...
Yeah, no, let's do that.
Which, it's better to do that right now. I don't really see Naruto ever start to treat her or think about her any differently than he does the rest of his friends. And I
agree.
I think, like, if I had seen more of that, because I see why she loves him, because he was the one who gave her strength and inspired her and, you know, protected her when other people wouldn't, and saw something in her that nobody else did. And I think those are good enough reasons for her to really like him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know...
That's pretty much it. That's all her character.
That's her whole character, and I think that's my issue with Hinata,
she has some stuff with her family.
She has
like some issues there, but you can explore that with Neji as well. It's not really just her thing.
And I think, like, it all unfortunately comes down to just being a vehicle for her love for Naruto instead of feeling like a genuine thing that's for her. It just feels like this strengthens her. Well, I was sad and I did timid, and then Naruto saved me, basically. I don't know. It just
I feel like you'd say that about so many characters in this. Naruto saved me.
Yeah, but I often feel like there's something else going on aside from just Naruto. But yeah, he does save a lot of people emotionally.
He's got that magic
but
thing.
It's just so enhanced in Hinata, unfortunately. So I just wish she had something that was like not about Naruto. Like it feels like her family issues boil down to Naruto somehow. And it's just like I wish maybe she had something with Neji that didn't have anything to do with Naruto. Or maybe she had something with her teammates that didn't have anything to do with Naruto. But we never actually see her have that.
We never really see her teammates other than like the Chunin exam where they fight or the retrieval arc.
Yeah, we don't really see her bond with them very much. And I feel like if there was more of that, she wouldn't have the love interest syndrome so bad, you know?
Yeah, like I think we saw it a little bit in the Chunin exam.
A little.
They had a thing going on with when they were in the Forest of Death and they were kind of like working to like try to track someone down, try to figure out what to do, all that sort of stuff. And I think she works well there. I think she was actually decently confident in herself and her abilities because she's been working with these people. But we see it for about 5 minutes.
Right. I feel like I just needed more, and more that wasn't just filler, because I know she has some stuff later with them, but it's just filler.
Yeah.
So I just feel like there should have been a little bit more if she's the one for Naruto, who's the main character. I just wanted more of her and more of an understanding of who she is outside of Naruto. Because I feel like if she wasn't there for Naruto, like to be his future wife or whatever, I don't know who she would be exactly. And I think that's the problem.
She'd be a background character.
Right. So it just like bothers me a little bit because of that. Once again, it doesn't bother me with Tamari because she's not supposed to be Naruto's future wife. But I don't know. And I think, like, the main thing with their relationship, though, that doesn't make sense is that I don't know if there's a point where it's like Naruto falls in love with her for a reason aside from she loves him.
We're going to have to go through Shippuden to find that out.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he does. Maybe there are actual, like, reasons why he's in love with her. But I'm just waiting to see them because it seems like he treats her like Gaara or he treats her like Shikamaru or whoever else. You know? Am I wrong?
Well, I'll say he definitely doesn't treat her like Sasuke.
Right. I don't know. It just feels like... Yeah.
You know, speaking of, like, unrequited love and stuff like that, what is Naruto's interest in Sakura?
What do you mean?
At a certain point,
why does he
I'm
like her?
I just don't get it. Like, out the gate, she's pretty, sure.
Yeah, I think that was the reason at first.
He's still into her in Shippuden.
I think part of it is
after so many years of rejection and just like...
Yeah. I think part of it
she's
is like...
never going to be into you.
Sometimes when you have a crush on somebody, I think it's just... It almost becomes a habit to just keep having a crush on them. And I think that kind of just became his dynamic with her after a while. You know, he'd try and flirt with her, she punches him, whatever.
See, I rarely see that dynamic. I feel like their dynamic became... I feel like their dynamic became way more... actual teammates after a while, even in like the original series.
For sure, and I think that was their relationship developing, and I think that's why I can see why he likes her and why he could have liked her in a deeper way.
I'm asking, I don't know what he likes.
Oh, like what qualities does she have that are likable?
Especially in this series.
I
hate to keep harping on Sakura sucks, but...
mostly just she's cute. I think it's similar reasons to why Sakura likes Sasuke. I think they're both kids who just have a crush on cute people. That's usually what kids do. I can't necessarily blame them. It's just when, for instance, Sakura and Sasuke are endgame and they end up getting married... I just feel like it had to develop beyond just a crush. I don't even feel like Naruto's crush on Sakura had to develop beyond it, because he doesn't end up with her, you know? So it was fine how it was. But I just feel like Sakura and Sasuke, and then Hinata and Naruto, to me, it had to eventually feel very mutual, and I'm not sure it ever felt like the guys were as in love with them as they were in love with them, you know?
In love with each other.
As much as they were in love with each other. I don't know, like, yeah, there was some obsession there, but...
Yep.
And I think even though Naruto and Sasuke are separated through most of Shippuden, you still feel that. But I think you don't as much with Sakura and Sasuke for some reason. Maybe it's because she's not the point of view character.
I think that's a fair point as well. Yeah, she's not.
So we don't
she's
see
main, but she's
her
not
thinking
like
about him.
the main character.
And then you see all the theme songs that are just like, woof. It's just always.
It's very much just the two of them.
Yeah. But I think the manga covers were like that too. There are some pretty funny ones, like the necklaces, their faces on it. But
yeah.
So I think it's always their relationship's always been a little
passionate.
But I think in terms of the couples who do end up together, I think there was good bones to those couples, but I think they just needed developed more.
They needed organs and meat and
skin. It needed meat and skin for sure. Yeah, I think maybe it had a bit of a beating heart, but the skin and the meat was not there. So I think, like, if he had actually taken care to develop the girls more and develop their relationship with the guys more, just as people, not even as romantic partners, I think it would have helped. And like I said, I saw some foreshadowing that Sasuke would fall in love with Sakura in the original series, but I just felt like it needed more, especially because he's so tsundere and standoffish.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, I don't know. I needed a little bit more from him, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's... Yeah, I'm not sure I have anything else to add to that.
Just my thoughts. I think that, once again, I think in essence the couples could have been good, but they just need to be strengthened and developed more. And that's why sometimes it feels like Sasuke and Naruto. It's no wonder, like, when we looked at that bar.
Yeah, no, we there was like a I don't even know what exactly you call it. It's like a pictograph kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like data of how much people look up the different ships
over time.
Or talk about them on the
I'm
internet.
sure you've seen these things. It's like bar graphs of, like, you know, here's how far ahead one thing was over another. Sasuke Naruto ship, like,
it's forever the
by
highest.
and far always like doubled or more than everybody else. Just
it was always the first, except like Boruto and Sarada came close when
near
Boruto
the
came
end,
out.
but they never like,
touched it.
They were always
still.
like a couple 100,000 below them.
Yeah, they still could not even match it, let alone beat it. And I think it's because Sasuke and Naruto have such an interesting relationship. It kind of makes sense in a way. And I don't know. I think if Sasuke was a girl, they probably would have gone together.
If Sasuke was a girl, then he would have been in a Sakura.
He would have been.
You can only have one girl per squad.
Oh shit! Yeah, wouldn't have worked out. Maybe he would have written Sasuke to be really boring. If he was a girl,
probably.
She would have not been interested.
Sasuke would have been Hinata.
All right, there was no way. It just wasn't meant to be, but. I don't know. I think Sasuke and Sakura is still... I know a lot of people like or don't like it, but I think it has a good basis. It just needed more, basically. Though I know he kind of abandoned some later on or whatever.
Oh, he's a deadbeat dad, 100%.
He's off doing his own thing.
Another thing they brought from Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, we kind of, I feel like that's most of the grievances that we've had. I've kind of talked a little bit about flashback stuff and, like, some of the dialogue things of, like, Believe It or something like that. They go away pretty quick, and they don't come back very often. And when they do, it does feel kind of like it's usually for a filler or something, or, like, whatever, so you can kind of skip it. They do a lot better, especially with the flashbacks. The Sasuke flashbacks at the end, very useful, and even if a lot of times they use the same establishing shots, we learn something new every time, which was huge. So I don't have anything really to say grievances there, which is good. Should we like talk like favorite stuff?
Can.
I know you mentioned Shikamaru and Jiraiya as your favorite characters.
And Itachi.
I feel like we get a little more of Itachi in Shippuden. We only get like the one thing with Itachi here.
We don't really see that much of him in this one, but if we're just so yeah, I guess you could just say Jiraiya and Shikamaru here.
Yeah, they're definitely up there. I think Jiraiya is probably one of my favorites.
He's a really good character.
He's just really fun.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not. It's like it's tough to get a good balance for a good like pervy character. Because like you have to make them kind of pathetic in a way.
Yeah.
And like,
I think we talked about that sometimes in the showdown, where it was like there are certain characters, like the one from Seven Deadly Sins, that a lot of people felt was too pervy to be like super likable.
Yeah,
you know, so it's a hard balance to strike to make that likable pervy. You know,
like if we're just talking the pervy personality element, I think part of it is unique comeuppance. Like it's one of those like back and forth sort of things. Like, and you even see this with someone like Mineta. Where it's like, he acts pervy, and he gets hit for it.
But we still don't like him.
Because that's all he has.
He's not likable like Jiraiya.
That's all he has. Yeah. Jiraiya has other elements. He has his history with Orochimaru and Tsunade and the third Hokage. He has his whole thing with the village. He has his sage stuff later. He's got the Toad things. He got the mentor element to him. Like, it's like this thing, and you could add the extension of his writing and stuff, is one facet of a many-faceted person.
Yeah.
Versus Mineta he's one thing, and that is pervy and sticky.
Right.
And in love with Midoriya.
That too.
We talked about that. That's whatever.
Yes, but I think it's true that Jiraiya has so many other things going for him that it's kind of like when the pervy thing happens, it does just feel like comic relief, and it's almost kind of like funny.
Yeah, it is.
Even
and
though
I think,
with a lot of characters we wouldn't find it funny.
I think we find it funny because like one, I don't think he's ever groped anybody.
I don't remember any groping.
At least not that we saw on camera.
Yeah.
And two, literally anytime he does anything, he gets smacked, he gets thrown off a roof, he gets something happens to him. And I think that's part of the reason we weren't as interested in Melidas. He basically gropes people and gets away with it.
Yeah.
And even if you were to hit him...
She was, like, unconscious or something.
Even if you were to hit him or try to punish him in some way, he's indestructible. Yeah. What can you do to hurt him as punishment for that?
Yeah, that's true. I think that was one of the reasons it was a little bit more annoying in that.
Yeah. It's like you have to balance the bad behavior with bad response to it. Otherwise, it's just like you're almost kind of endorsing it.
Yeah, I mean... Naruto uses the sexy jutsu, and there's not really comeuppance, but I think it's Naruto is doing it, so
he's using it to mess with people in a way.
Yeah,
which
or
I guess,
to get Jiraiya to focus or something.
But it's kind of him messing with him
a little.
Which I think that does harken kind of back because like there's elements here, and I think even more so sometimes in Shippuden where you're kind of drawing from like old mythology for certain things, like the fox spirit, you could say like the kitsune, and they would often turn into naked women and stuff to mess with people, and like okay, of course the fox kid also does that.
Yeah, makes sense.
And like Jiraiya's whole deal, along with Tsunade and Orochimaru, is like just based on that like old legend of like Jiraiya the Gallant, and that whole thing. So like the writer draws from a lot of we looked it up, and like I thought that one thing was funny, that Sasuke is like the most generic ninja name.
Yeah.
It's like he's basically John Smith or something or whatever. I find that funny, and yeah, there's like a lot of basis for a lot of this stuff in a whole bunch of things. So he drew from Slug, Snake, Toad all that stuff.
Part of a legend, I think.
The third Hokage was like based on like a old ninja guy, a monkey thing, and like there's a lot of, I think he like drew from a lot of different inspiration sources for this one and amalgamated them all really well. Yeah. Trying to think, like, I think we were saying like what was like our favorite arc in this.
Wait, who were your favorite characters? Jiraiya?
I was mentioning Jiraiya. I like Kakashi. Right? I without a doubt love Kakashi. He's just got, I love that.
He's really cool. Like
laid back, kind of almost disinterested teacher kind of thing, who is also like unstoppable. Which it's just a fun trope.
Yeah.
It's fun to play with because it's always such a like a I don't want to say a disconnect. It's late. I'm losing my words a little bit. Like, it's such an interesting like dichotomy sometimes of like, you could see it in Eraserhead too, of like, I am just let me sleep in class kind of thing. And then out of nowhere, I'm going to kung fu flip over all of you and kill everybody in this room if you mess with my class.
Right.
Kind of thing. It's like, wow, you go from 0 to 10 real fast. I like that. And then there's a guy who's constantly at 11. You know what? We got to put Rock Lee up in there.
Yeah, he's a good character.
You can't hate him.
No
one can hate Rock Lee.
Super likable.
Yep.
I would put him up there. He's like one of my secondary favorites. I'd put Sasuke up there as a secondary favorite.
Yeah, I think like most of the guys in this, other than say like maybe Kiba and Shino, probably, yeah, everyone gets like a lot of good development here.
I mean, Naruto himself, I think
he's the title character.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good character though. Like, sometimes protagonists are pretty boring, but I actually don't find Naruto boring.
I mean, they gave him like a lot out the gate to deal with, which I think like, there's other characters who have that, but like
I think it's like, and we've talked about this with like a lot of recent protagonists not really having flaws.
Yes.
Or being maybe too perfect and too likable, but I don't feel like Naruto has that problem.
I think, and I don't know whether we like talked about this specifically. I feel like if this came up, it was probably during the Yu Yu Hakusho Demon Slayer
I think
thing.
it was just you and me talking.
Okay.
I don't know about if we've talked about it here.
Our thoughts about it have been like, it was kind of the switch that happened, probably in both the manga and anime industry at a certain point, probably around the 2000s. Because like before that, in like the 90s and stuff, you had shows like Yu Yu Hakusho, which are very much like, we're going to establish our characters fully first.
Yeah.
And then we're going to put them into stuff. And you're going to keep watching because you care about the characters. Like, no matter what the plot's going to be, you're going to care about these characters. The plots were interesting. I like Yu Yu Hakusho. I like a lot of the fights in that. I like how, like, the progression of everything. I think we should go back and watch that a little bit more. Because we watched a couple of more episodes of that. But nowadays, and I think this is... We talked about this during the Magia record thing. Mm-hmm. It's so seasonal. It's so like, you got to get it out fast. You got to get the plot moving like right now, because like everyone's attention span is so short because there's too much shit.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like we have to get to the plot now. We have to make characters basic. We have to just make them likable at the gate. Maybe not even that complex, because like we were talking about that, like Yusuke versus Tanjiro. Mm-hmm. Tanjiro is just a cinnamon roll. And that's it. That's like his only character. Yeah, he's Jesus. Like, we talk about like Deku being a cinnamon roll and like, but he has flaws and stuff that he has to overcome. But even he gets a little bit like stagnant for a while. Versus Yusuke is like, he's really going all over the place trying to figure shit out. And then you have like all of his buddies as well.
Yeah.
But like, that's a slow start. And I think they had slow starts back in the day because they were always ordered for like a large number of episodes out the gate. It was like you had 26 to 50 episodes.
Yeah.
You were guaranteed time.
I think it's more Tanjiro and Itadori that fall into that.
Yeah.
They're maybe too perfect than Deku does.
And like they have external obstacles to overcome, but they don't have any internal obstacles to overcome. They're pretty much just, I'm the perfect version of me right now. I just need to be stronger.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, and that allows you to get to your plot very fast, which is what helps you get people in more. But I feel like you lose something in the long run a little bit. And that's unfortunate. I think like Naruto's kind of at that midpoint between those two of like, we're going to establish our main characters in a big way and make them dynamic and like they're going to change, they're going to grow internally, but also we're going to get this external like shit happening right away too.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of that midpoint balance a little bit. Sometimes it's working really good, sometimes it's not. I don't know that it always worked perfectly in Naruto because, like, again, it gets bogged down early on in Zabuza.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think...
But I think you do care about them, like, Sakura's questionable, but I think most of them you care about them.
Yeah.
Because you do see them a lot and you see their relationships with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I think to some degree it's like... And maybe we can blame this on Goku a little bit, because he also has a very flat arc kind of thing, but I feel like a lot of characters nowadays are very much flat arc for your main character. But, like,
It is mostly about leveling up.
Yeah, it's all about the leveling up element. and not really the internal conflict. But I think sometimes you do have those internal conflicts with other people. Because they're later in the series, you can develop them more because you've already established your plot and you have your hook. Like, that's why I think I'm interested more in, like, people like Megumi or Inosuke if we're simply talking Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen right now.
Yeah.
Like, and you could argue even Bakugo.
Yeah.
He's got shit going on everything.
He has a clearer arc, like, emotional arc than Deku in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Deku is already a perfect human. He just needs to be stronger. Same as Tanjiro, same as Itadori. Like...
A little bit.
I'm not, like... And I don't want to, like...
They're
knock their struggles.
Good characters overall.
Like, he struggled with, like, the jellyfish dude. And everything that happened to him. But, like...
Yeah.
Is he a different person now? Or
Wait,
is he... I'm talking about Itadori.
Jellyfish dude?
The guy he was friends with, they bonded over movies, and then he, like, got exploded by Mahito.
Why are you calling him a jellyfish dude?
He had that jellyfish thing! Are you not remembering this?
Are you talking about when he changes into the thingy? That wasn't a jellyfish.
What was it? A cuttlefish?
I don't know.
He had poison powers.
Jellyfish.
He had poison powers.
Alright,
and, okay.
You're talking about the kid with Mahito.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it showed him, like, more about, basically, it was kind of like with Haku, where it shows them this is really serious and people are gonna die.
Okay, I get that, but didn't he already know that?
No, his grandpa died, but that was natural.
Okay.
I think it was kind of like a slap in the face that, like, people he cares about might die, kind of thing. But at the same time, I don't know that changed... Like, it's not like he had a core, like, I'm invincible, I can do anything, and then he got this, it's like, he already was kind of an understanding person,
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like it really changed. It made things more serious, like, oh shit, somebody I love might die, and that's hard for me. But I don't feel like it changed anything about him, like an internal trait that needed to be changed in order for him to be more of a hero,
Yeah, like... And it's not exactly easy to pinpoint that sort of stuff with Naruto as well, because, again, this is, like, one of those situations of, like, this is a long anime with a lot of ups and downs and stuff. I think at his core, for the most part, Naruto stays the same in his pursuit of being Hokage and his pursuit of his ninja way of, like, never going back on his word and that sort of stuff. But, like... I feel like with Sasuke and stuff, it gives him a lot of ups and downs and, like, actual, like, internal conflict. And, like, especially in Shippuden, you see later, he's conflicted about a number of the things that he has to do as a ninja in the world that he's in.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we get that with a whole lot of other protagonists nowadays.
With Naruto, I think in terms of what has to change about him... I think it's often, like, he is kind of childish in the beginning. And I think he needs to, like, grow up and he needs to slow down and not be as rash. I can come up with character flaws that he has that, like, they prohibit him from doing certain things properly or, like, the right way. I think it's clearer with Sasuke because, like, his wants and needs are so, like, conflicting in terms of he really wants the revenge. But at the same time, what he needs is to embrace... people like Naruto, Kakashi, and Sakura who really love and care about him. So I think his arc is more clear in terms of, like, his single-mindedness for revenge gets in his way of what he really needs. I think that's one of the reasons why I like Sasuke a lot is because his arc is very clear, and in my opinion, it's very powerful because it's clear.
Yeah.
But I think Naruto, it's still there, that he has character flaws that stand in his way from being the best version of himself that can be Hokage, But then he has the super friendship magic. I don't know.
It's a bit of a cop out. A lot of shonen protagonists have super friendship powers.
I mean, Itadori does.
Yeah, I mean Tanjiro kind of does. So. Goku kind of does. He makes friends with literally everybody he beats up.
It's just how it is,
Yeah. If you're a protagonist who can't make friends, I mean, what are you doing in a shonen?
I'm trying to think legitimately of a protagonist who doesn't make any friends. Or struggles to make friends. Maybe that would be interesting to see. like a loner protagonist, maybe like Psyche K or something, where they don't want friends.
But he has them anyway.
But he has
still
them
inexplicably
anyway.
attracts them.
Yeah.
I was about to say Saitama, but he
Saitama.
does get him too.
But it's like, that doesn't mean they're good at making friends. Like, they definitely don't have that superpower, but they somehow attract them. I don't know.
Yeah. It'd be kind of a weird show, having a shonen with, like, no supporting cast on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Could be funny. I don't know. Maybe it's just, like, trying to subvert every trope.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to think anything else. Like, okay, so we were talking about characters. Like, what about arcs? What was, like, we were saying, like, the top two are probably the tuning exam and the retrieval arc, right?
Yeah.
Which one, like, by the end of it, do you feel like you probably like the most?
Why don't you go first?
For me, I think without a doubt, especially if we're considering, like, Sasuke's overall character stuff, the retrieval arc is probably best for character things. Tuning exam is no slouch. That being said, I think I go tuning exam. I think I just like all the variety of things that are going on. Like, the mission is constantly changing. The people coming in and out are, like, new and exciting. The big bad is finally here. I love a lot of just that whole thing. It's got, we talk tournament arcs. It's got a fucking great tournament arc.
Yeah.
And I think it encapsulates, like, everything that was good about the series in that arc.
That makes sense. Does the Sasuke retrieval arc include their fight at the end?
Oh, it absolutely does.
Okay.
How would it not?
I don't know if that's a whole other arc because it's like 15 episodes.
You could call it that if you want,
if
but
it includes it,
he's still trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, if it includes it in his backstory and everything, I might go with that arc because I think it did have a good build up with the fights and seeing them all come together to do this, and I think, like, it had some of the most interesting characters involved. And then I think the fight at the end was just, like, I think we binged it almost all at once because it was just exciting. I don't know, it was probably the most exciting fight, definitely if we're just talking about Naruto, not Shippuden.
Yeah.
So, and then we got Sasuke's backstory and some of the stuff between Sasuke and Naruto. I would say that maybe for how well built up it felt and how climactic it felt, maybe I would go with the Sasuke retrieval arc. And I think we just got a lot of highlights from different characters like Shikamaru and Choji and Neji. So I might go with that one, but also I did really like the Chunin exam as well, and I think especially for the tournament part, it was really good. But also, yeah, the Force of Death was really good too. Mostly just the Orochimaru episode was the best part, though. I don't know. Maybe as a whole, I would say Sasuke retrieval arc, but in part, I think there were parts of the Chunin exam that were just as good, or maybe even a little bit better than some parts of the Sasuke retrieval arc. Like, I think if I was just looking at Force of Death and the tournament parts, those two parts were probably just as good or even better than the lead up to Sasuke and Naruto's fight. But I don't know. As a whole, I think the other one was just climactic, so maybe I'd go with that.
I can see that. I'm really trying to think. I feel we've exhausted, like, pretty much everything that we can talk about this show.
Possibly. Did you have anything else? I mean,
least favorite arc? Yeah, well, that's not even a question. It's the race.
It's the race.
Someone in the if anyone did like that arc, tell me why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess maybe some people could just like that it was just a mundane mission for these
Mundane
people.
Is right.
I don't know. But then the Zabuza arc could be considered a mission.
It was a mission, but, like, yeah, it dragged a little bit, but I feel like it added a lot more than the race one did, so I'm definitely going to put that above it.
Yeah.
I think best fight, it has to go to Naruto versus Sasuke.
Yeah.
In the end. Like, the Hokage fight and the first Orochimaru fight definitely is up there as well. The Rock Lee fight, some of the Chunin exam stuff. But, yeah, everything has to kind of come second to to the final one.
Mm.
I think that's pretty much it. Do we have any final thoughts on this? Is it a yay for you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I would consider it a
Yeah,
yay.
I think it's a yay for me. I mean, it's my number 2, so.
Yeah, I mean, it got pretty high up there for you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I mentioned this before. This is like the one that kind of got me to pursue anime beyond just like, I'm going to flip the TV on real quick. This is the first thing I ever watched subbed. Because this was when I discovered YouTube. And in like 2007, and
Part 1 of 16. Naruto episode
they were broken down into 3.
Okay.
The movies were broken down into 16. Which I did watch those. We didn't watch those.
Nah.
I don't recommend them personally. They're kind of whatever.
Did you see all of them?
I saw 3 of them. I don't know if they made more for this series, but yeah. Yeah, no, I probably like started watching this like whenever it came out here. I watched it on Toonami up to like the Chunin exam. And I think at that point I was like, oh god, when is the next episode coming out? When is it coming out? I was like looking at when is it coming out, and then it like the episode that was supposed to come out next week had already shown up in Canada. So I watched that. It was in English, and they're like, what? This next episode's there, but it was in Japanese. I'm like, oh wait, how many of these do they have? Oh, they have all of them like this. Well, this is gonna be my last year of middle school.
They had it up through the end of Naruto?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, in 2007, Shippuden was starting.
Oh.
So they had like, I was like reading up on stuff afterwards because it was like 2006 or something. I finished watching Naruto, and I was like, I might as well look up extra things about the series, and maybe I missed something. And they're like, Shippuden, what's that? Oh my god, it's a sequel series. Oh, it already has manga. Oh my god, they're already animating it. Oh my god, the first episode's coming out in 2 weeks.
Oh.
So I waited for that to show up on YouTube and was trying to do that week to week. But at that point, I was like starting high school in that. And yeah, like a lot of obligations just started piling up, and it was like I had to go searching for everything. And it was like,
yeah,
I kind of dropped out of it a little bit. Came back to it later, dropped out of it again, and now we're doing it, so.
Where did you leave off from Shippuden originally?
It's hard to say because it was like one of those things of like, for a bit I was like watching it. When I revisited it, I started over and I just wanted to see how the English was. So I was restarting that. But I was also like occasionally trying to look up the manga to get ahead of it a little bit. But it's like you're going back and forth through like different mediums and like, oh, I read this part. Do I want to watch this episode? I should watch this episode because it's going to be cool. But like, oh, wait, this is the filler part before that. And it's like, you get like, it gets complicated at a certain point and you're like, okay, my homework needs done at a certain time. So yeah, you kind of fall out of it a little bit. But then you eventually like find time. It's especially easy when you have someone to watch with. Yeah. Which is like part of the whole thing that we do this for is like, we just like,
yeah,
like because
we can commit to it.
Yeah, we started like calling this like a book club kind of thing of like.
Yeah, it was kind of like what we used to do in Anime Club. Where we watch it weekly.
Because like as soon as I was
caught up with each other.
As soon as I was out of Anime Club, did not watch stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was like, why? I have other things I got to do. I'm like, but like now we got to like set aside time.
Yeah.
And like, we're not setting aside a ton of time usually, other than this.
It's usually only an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We were already watching Naruto. Like, we didn't do it for this.
Yeah. It is a hell of a thing. It's a fantastic feeling to love a show and then force your partner to watch all of it. I'm trying to think. Like, do we have anything else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
Until we get to Shippuden, I think that's it. I'm genuinely thinking, like, because this is long. This is long.
I think we're good.
Yeah. I'm thinking whenever we do Shippuden, we should probably break it into, like, 1 or 2 videos.
Yeah.
Because we only really covered 135 episodes. That's 500 episodes we got to do for Shippuden. It's like
too much.
So much.
There are a lot of arcs.
I'm wondering if after we're done with the current arc we're on, maybe we should just make the video because, like, we're near 200. That feels like a good cutoff point to just start talking about shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Because, like, we can't get to 500 then suddenly be like, so what happened in episode 1?
It's a little fuzzy by then.
Yeah, no. But yeah, we'll think about that. Look for that in the future. We'll probably announce that at some point. But next week is Jujutsu Kaisen and more Magia Record. Don't forget to watch this week's episode of Magia Record, episode 4. I'm sure something like really crazy shit happened. We're recording this before that, so I don't know. But check it out. Check out our other stuff. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!